Monday edition. What a week we've got planned for you during Tausch's spring sabbatical. Even if it doesn't look like spring, because it's still snowing here in Green Bay. Can't wait till that happens during the draft edition. Is it IPT to cook your daughter in ping pong, or should you let her win? I have not let her win. She's irritated with me. Edition. How's your bracket looking? I don't even want to hear about it. I wanted upsets. I wanted Cinderellas. What do we got? We got 10 seed left. We got a couple of 6 seeds left in the Sweet 16. And the 10 seed is coached by one of the all-time winningest coaches in college basketball history. Is the tournament a dud? Edition. And we are here if you are a Badgers fan or a Marquette fan or a UW Oshkosh women's basketball fan or a
Green Bay
UW Stout women's basketball fan or who else went down to
Green
defeat
Bay
this
Phoenix.
week? Green Bay women.
Yep.
Yes, Dan and Brothertown's daughter-in-law. Iowa State with my guy TJ Otzelberger got cooked. I'm using cooked a lot. I heard the word cooked a lot this week. In Milwaukee, not a great... If you're a Wisconsin basketball fan, it didn't go well. Even though the seasons, I would argue, were all varying degrees of successful edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, everything you need on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios, is that where he is, Jesse?
That's correct.
At the Avenue and the 3rd Street Market Hall. This guy is one of the best human beings I have ever known. But he's still my 3rd favorite punter. It is Brad Nortman of KBN. Brad, the successful, gifted, talented, outstanding radio career that you launched really began here on this program.
Yeah,
now,
being back on Wilde and Tausch, it does bring back a lot of good memories. I remember not too long ago where I was a budding, young, excitable, hopefully full-time radio host, and look at me now, Jason. Part of the product, the incubator that is Wilde and Tausch. Look at me now. How about that?
You owe it all to us. Just go ahead and say it. Admit it.
The incubator.
I do. Well, and I'm glad that you brought up, Jason, the 3rd favorite punter remark, because we've had some conversations. You and I have never been able to hash this out fully, right? To catch people up on KBN from 2 to 5 on ESPN Wisconsin, we have Jason on twice a week, which we love. And he has said quite a few times now that I was his 2nd favorite punter behind Wisconsin's favorite Green Bay Packer punter, Tim Mastay. But now I've been knocked to 3rd behind Wisconsin Badger great Sam Veit, who actually, small nugget, he coached me for a couple of years in college. So, Jason, I got to know. First of all, that hits me a little hard. I'm still digesting it because, I can't think of another journalist that is above you, my friend. So I think you are ranked number 1 on my list. I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. But I'm wondering to myself, is this like a college football rankings where it changes and there's some jostling? Or is this more like a Mount Rushmore where it's etched in stone and I just have no ability to make up ground on Tim Mastay or Sam Veit?
Well, first of all, I think we all recognize a radio shtick when we hear one. Secondly, as much as I love Tim and really loved having you guys surprise me by having him on the panel of KBN a couple weeks ago. That was genius. That was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
And I do love Tim. But much like a parent, right? Like Sydney and Madison are, and you're an expectant father now, as you announced on your program.
Yes, I am.
So I want to be clear. Like, Maddie is a fantastic gymnast. She's a track and field runner. She's a pole vaulter. She was a ballerina, which I miss that. She retired because she was going to have to make it her full-time job. She was so good. And she said, no, I want to be a normal high schooler. So Maddie does a lot of things that, let's be honest, me, not capable of, right? Sydney, on the other hand, plays all these ball sports that I have played myself. So they're more native to me and my understanding. But I love them unequivocally equally. There are different great things about them. Maddie, a lot more like Paula, carbon copy of Paula. Now, I chose to marry Paula, so obviously I love her a lot, but she can be difficult. Doesn't admit when she's wrong. And is she in the basement right now hearing this? Yes, she is. So I want to make sure I get that nice and loud for her to hear in the back area. That's how Maddie is. Sydney, carbon copy of me. So very similar personality-wise. But I undeniably love them both equally. There are just different things about them that I love. My punter rankings are really just to irritate you because you're all on the Mount Rushmore of punters. And I do have an opening for a fourth that I have to figure out who that could be.
Ooh.
So,
how about that? Punters everywhere, listen up. Fourth place. I won't say fourth place. Fourth stature in Jason Wilde's.
Fourth position. Yeah.
Fourth position.
The fourth mountain that you'll be carved out of in South Dakota.
It's there for the taking. Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that.
Sorry, Jesse. I thought that button was closer.
Didn't see that coming.
Well, that's the news I needed to hear on a Monday, to be quite honest with you. That is what I needed to hear. What a way to start our 3 hours together, Jason.
Good. Well, I do enjoy needling you because you're such a good human being that I don't feel like otherwise I just have to talk about how great you are, and God knows I don't want to do that.
Well, no, and you gotta make sure that the head doesn't get too big and keep me right in a perfect place between encouraged and also striving for more in Jason Wilde's particular, his rankings.
Perfect. All right. Well, so then exactly what I wanted to accomplish has been accomplished. Now, a couple of other things, though, before we get into the Badgers' loss and Marquette's loss and everything else that happened during the tournament. I am curious because Sam Veit has a lot of friends who listen to our show. He has been inundated with messages telling him that he's being referenced. You informed us, I think you actually said this on KBN first, but now you've said it this morning. He coached you in what capacity? Because for those of you that aren't as old as me, Sam was a punter during my time at Wisconsin. So, and he is a great overcoming adversity and the odds stacked. I mean, not all of us can be Brad Nortman, right? Who are just clear-cut future college athletes. Sam overcame that. I believe he was a walk-on to start. Like, he forged a fantastic career during the renaissance of Badger football that had not been seen since the 1962 Rose Bowl. So he gets a lot of love because we went to college together. We've been friends for a long time. But he coached you? You owe your success on the radio to me and on the field to him?
Wow. I mean, that phrasing it that way is quite the legacy. I mean, we all are a product of our environment, so I'll start by saying that. So, I mean, you can't separate the two. So, who am I to argue against that? But yeah, so my punting journey, just an all-around sports kid, right? Loved playing sports and athletic and all that kind of stuff. And early on, right around 8th grade, I was doing broad punting camps and into freshman year of high school, and some of the coaches at those camps were kind of telling me and my parents, like, listen, Brad's got a leg. You should really look to foster this raw skill set that he has, because who knows what might happen, and who knows was quite a
Can I interrupt briefly, because that's what we do on this show, except normally we don't ask, because that's what Doug does. So did you play a lot of soccer? Like, how did you develop? Because I'm guessing there's plenty of people who are listening who are looking for college to be paid for that are thinking, hey, if I can foster a long snapper or a punter, there might be an opportunity here. So how was this discovery made?
Yeah, so I did play soccer when I was a kid, up until about 7th grade. At 7th grade, I focused on just football and basketball. But before then, baseball, soccer, the whole thing. I've always been a sort of a long, lanky kid, which definitely helps with long levers as far as being able to punt the football. So I do believe, though, that whether it be kicking, punting, or long snapping, for all you parents out there looking for a way now, especially with NIL, or a way to get a son into college, I do think that if you are coached and you'd have the right form, I think it opens doors for college in a way that, raw skill set. I could never go be a center on the Wisconsin Badger basketball team, right? Just my stature and physique doesn't afford to it. So I think, though, that almost any body type, any athletic ability, to some degree, with the right coaching can put you in the right position where at least I think you'd have some doors open. Now, as far as athletic ability, hand and eye and foot coordination, and long levers, that really helped me have there be a sense of, okay, he has a raw skill set. He sees the ball well to his foot, and he mashes it when he gets a hold of it. So at that point, my parents and my dad in particular started seeking out, how can we get Brad some one-on-one coaching? And I don't even know how exactly he got a hold of Sam Veit, but at the time too, I mean, he was still very well known as that Wisconsin Badger punter that you're describing in the early Rose Bowl days. And so for about 2 years, I worked with him, and my dad was always present to sort of absorb what he could so he could implement it when him and I were just punting. But yeah, a lot of the early form and a lot of the early building blocks, Sam helped coach me for at least 2 years. And then from there, when I was a junior, I went to some more like national coaches and national kicking and punting combines. But Sam Veit, he set a heck of a foundation of a punter. And honestly, too, at that point, when I was looking up to Sam, I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy, former Wisconsin Badger punter, Rose Bowl winner, all the things. So it was a great, not only coach, but mentor, encourager, and throughout my whole career, we've stayed in touch. And, and now his son, Bo Veit, I hope that's not revealing too much information. He's a heck of a punter, and he's fielding, the next steps of in high school, trying to do it in college. So quite a legacy right there. We got quite a pipeline here in southeastern Wisconsin when it comes to punters.
And there have been good punters at Wisconsin that have had NFL, at least opportunities. It didn't always lead to the lengthy career that you had in the league, but there was Kevin Stempke, Kenny DeBusch. Help me out with some more of your punting brethren that came through Wisconsin.
Well, I mean, those are the guys that most people know from 2000s on. Most recently, Andy Vunovic was very good, and he actually, talk about a physical freak. He did like a Turkish get up, which is basically starting on your back, holding a dumbbell, and then working your way up through a side plank and holding it over your head. It was like 100 pounds that he did it with a dumbbell. So he was an athletic freak. I think he had a couple of tryouts, but it just didn't work out. Drew Meyer was a good punter who's actually now a coach for University of Virginia. So it's been a good legacy of punters. And now Atticus Bertrams. I mean, we are not just a national based punting program. We're international now with an Australian guy. So you love to see it. So the tradition of Punter University of University of Wisconsin, it lives on.
Punter U, yes, that's often how I've heard it referred to.
Not running back U, punter U.
No, a lot of good offensive linemen out of there as well. But all right, Jesse, I know you are excited to have Brad because you take a lot of credit for helping shape him into the radio host that he is. I do have
all of it, actually. Yeah.
Well, you take a lot of credit for a lot of things. I'm curious, as we have a week-long Cousin Subapalooza scheduled. Was Brad one of the first people you thought of? Because in fairness to Brad, while he did get his start here, he does have a daily radio program now because he's, spread his wings and left the nest of Wilde and Tausch. And, I mean, what is this, 3 years now for KBN? Or where are we? Is it your third anniversary of the show?
We're actually only at about a year and a half, if you can believe
it feels a lot longer.
We are such a fixture of sports media in Wisconsin that it does feel longer, but only a year and a half.
Okay. So, Jesse, was Brad one of your first thoughts, or did you have trouble filling spots and then say, well, we'll have to ask a guy who also has 2 hours of radio to do later today?
Well, I mean, we can look back to last Thursday when I filled in with you and know that the list is fairly lengthy, but Brad was near the top of the list, I will say that. He was not the very top of the list because he does have a 3-hour show that he does every afternoon, but he is on the list of the short list of when we're looking for some accomplished people that are great cousin subs of the day to host this show with you and that, quite frankly, can tolerate you. Brad is on that list, so that is also a great check mark for him to get the invite every so often, yeah.
Well, I will take that as a compliment, particularly when I see, not to reveal the rest of the week, but I see a murderer's row of cousin subs of the day. Brian Balaga, Joe Thomas, second most well-known guy from Brookfield Central on Friday. I mean, unbelievable lineup right there to be on Wilde and Tausch. So, well, Tausch's exit is our joy and opportunity to be on with you, Jason, and you, Jesse.
All right, last thing on this, and then we'll get into the tournament and we'll get into the Packers. I've gotten some interesting feedback on my story on channel3000.com about the fact that the Packers only have 2 players left, one each from their 2020 and 2021 draft classes. But you sound a little under the weather. Your voice does not sound like the dulcet tones that I'm familiar with. Can you do 6 hours of radio? Are you going to be drinking tea? Do I need to have Jesse talk more? Because that'll go over well on YouTube in the comments. Are you ready to manage a 6-hour stint of radio today?
Jason, I'm a grinder. At the end of 6 hours, I'm going to be asking the powers that be to do another hour, so I'll be good to go.
The Homer hour. Yeah, that'll be
Homer
perfect.
Hour. How about that? Maybe I can bump out Homer and see if I can do an hour by myself.
All right. Well, Brad Nortman is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Tausch is on his spring sabbatical. Couldn't have picked a better time where it was snowing and freezing rain and everything else. We look forward to his return next week. But in the interim, we've got a great group of cousin subs of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Tausch believes in better, and he believes in better windows. So he is going to tell you about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and we will continue with Brad Nortman next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Well, we talk a lot about the unprecedented quality and service you get from Pella. But talking to the people who work there, you can tell how much they genuinely love what they do. Pella's team is with you from start to finish. They don't disappear after the sale. Right now, take advantage of windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Certain restrictions do apply. This offer ends March 31st, 2025. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Is it Waukesha or Waukesha? Brat or brat? Is it ever okay to vacation in Minnesota? Wisconsinites can't agree on everything, but we can agree getting paid earlier is better. That's why UW Credit Union is making members direct deposits available up to 2 days earlier. Early payday at UW Credit Union. Join today. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025. Hey, ready to sweeten your game? It's time for Quick Trip's Nature's Touch Ice Cream. Ooh, making moves like the starting lineup of a championship team. Whether you're gearing up for the big game, celebrating a win, or just looking for a sweet break in the action. Chocolate, vanilla, cookies and cream, mint chocolate chip, and more. Yeah, there's no such thing as a bad pick. So why wait? Flavor doesn't scoop itself. Get your hands on your winning Nature's Touch Ice Cream flavor today. Only at Quick Trip.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Madison on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbliss. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
Welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
The NFL Draft is now underway.
Live from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With the first pick.
Thursday, April 24th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Brad Nortman is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. I wish the NCAA basketball tournaments had gone better for the teams and the people that I really like. I don't care about my bracket, and neither does anyone else, by the way. What are people less interested in, your bracket or your fantasy team?
Oh, they're in the same boat. Yeah, they hang out together. Yeah.
I wanted to see Iowa State because I like TJ Otzelberger, a Milwaukee area native. They're done. Obviously, I really like Shaka Smart. I'm not one of those Wisconsin people who only cheers for the Badgers or only wants to see the Badgers do well. They punched out in the first round. Greg Gard and the Final Four potential team that certain people that are absent from the panel today suggested they were, ran into, and is it just me, or a very unlikable BYU squad?
Super unlikable.
Yeah, right there with you.
Super unlikable. Yeah. A lot of Duke vibes from that team.
Yeah, sort of very, very irritable and a little dirty, a little, very vocal. I don't know. I mean,
Tater
wasn't
Tot
my
guy's
brand of
got
basketball.
some Grayson Allen to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get. I mean, in my experience with some lovely LDS Mormon types, I did not expect them to be that way. They were not nice. I didn't like them, and they were cocky. But they're the ones going to the Sweet 16, as opposed to the Wisconsin Badgers, as Greg Gard's team still has not gotten back to the Sweet 16 since 2017. And I understand that there are some Badger fans who are frustrated about that. The team that I care about the most, or the teams that I care about the most, because Sydney and I love them, the UWGB women put a good fight up against Alabama, and then kind of cratered at the end. So they've been eliminated. We love Dan and Brothertown and Kayla and Rick and their whole family. And then my friend Brad Fisher gets the UW Oshkosh women to the Final Four, and a tough loss. Had the ball with a chance to win the game, and a missed three at the end, but they drew up a great play, and she was open, and they fall to Smith College, who then got cooked. I'm doing a lot of cooked lately. It's caught on here at the Wilde House. By NYU. I think they lost 77-49 in the national championship game. Brad, I get a lot of grief because I like to say I'm not a fan. But when it comes to this time of year, I do find myself rooting for outcomes and rooting for people. And I wanted to see Marquette go farther. I wanted to see Wisconsin go farther, obviously. Was this one of the worst weekends of basketball we could have possibly asked for at this time of year?
Well, taken on a cumulative basis, it almost certainly is, right? You would have hoped that at least Marquette or Wisconsin would have found their way to become, Sweet 16 players, and you keep the season going, keep the excitement going, particularly the Wisconsin Badgers. I mean, I don't know if it's a shame on me moment, but I truly thought this was the year they were going to get to the Sweet 16. It was a fairly good draw. Now, I would have preferred them to be in Milwaukee in the confines of that draw, but the reality is it didn't happen, so you're the 3 seed, so you got to go beat a feisty, tough BYU team.
Feisty.
But with All-American John Tonje and Blackwell and, with Krall and Winter, it just seemed like they had the guys to do it this year. Confidence, ability to score with anybody, which we saw when they played BYU. But it was painful. And now you're talking about a mounting narrative, right? Mm-hmm. Where, 2017, the last Sweet 16 for the Wisconsin Badger basketball team. And that doesn't seem like a lot to ask for a program that has a very bright past. I mean, obviously my co-host Ben Bruss, part of the Final Four team, and they make Sweet 16 runs. I mean, this has got to be one of the longer droughts of the Sweet 16 in modern history for the Badger basketball team. So I don't know. I had a little bit of an uneasy feeling, mostly just from scars of the past, of thinking, I hope this isn't the same as last year. I hope this isn't the same as previous years. And sure enough, when BYU came out and they were humming and they can score and score quickly and they got their confidence, it just looked like the one thing I'm trying to make sense of is that the Badger basketball team steps up to the spotlight so often, right? Whether it be the Big Ten tournament or playing teams throughout the year, because the Big Ten is littered with good teams. It seems they step up in those moments. But recently, for whatever it is, they look like a different team in the tournament. It looks like the spotlight is too big. It looks like they're unprepared for the moment, which doesn't make any sense because Greg Gard is certainly used to those moments, and he was an assistant coach on those Final Four and national championship teams. So he's no stranger to the tournament or the spotlight. But whatever it is, since 2017, whenever the moment arises where they have an opportunity to just go to the Sweet 16, and most of the time they're the favorite. It seems like they are the passive team. They're not the aggressor. It seems like they lack confidence. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental block at this point, but they're starting to run out of excuses to not go further in the tournament.
Well, I loved that Greg Gard didn't bellyache about them not getting the 3 seed in Milwaukee. I love that because I don't think that helps much. Now, though, as I sit here, you hear the BYU coach Kevin Young, I think his name is, saying it was like Provo here. Well, they're the 6th seed. Should the 6th seed have home court advantage? Like in Denver, that was less than ideal for them. Now, that sounds like excuse making. I get it. They need to play better defense. They could have played that game on the moon. If they didn't play better defense and they allowed 91 points, they're going to lose regardless, right? Tanjay has the ball in his hand at the end. It's not a great shot. I thought Kenny Smith had some really good insight into saying, I'd rather have him shoot earlier in the shot clock, maybe even the 3 when he's at the top of the key like Jimmy Chitwood, and then you got a chance at a rebound. I agreed with that. But the bottom line is that it sucks that they checked out early. At the same time, it was a hell of a game. There have not been many good games in this tournament, right? Colorado State, Maryland was a really, really good game with 2 baskets in the last 5 seconds. That was a great game. I don't think there have been many signature games in this tournament, and Wisconsin's was a pretty good one. But I found myself thinking about something, and I hate it when this happens, that Jesse Nelson said. Because that, anytime you're on my mind, that's trouble. I just think the Big Ten tournament is a disadvantage if you do well in it. And I know that Michigan got through, and they played the same number of games. Now, they played Friday, Sunday, as opposed to Thursday, Saturday at elevation.
Yeah, they played one less game in the Big Ten tournament, too. They had the
also
double bye.
True, yes, exactly. So the Badgers played 6 games in 10 days. I feel like that's a lot. And if you're and you can say that that's excuse making, but if your legs are a little bit deader than your opponent, that does factor in. Am I being Pollyanna excuse maker guy, or am I making a valid point, Brad Nortman?
You're making a valid point because these are young men and they have limits. I just wonder, though, how much does that get offset by momentum and rhythm and confidence, which is, I felt like what they built when they were making the run on the Big Ten tournament. I thought they were playing their best basketball. Now, clearly they ran out of steam against Michigan in the Big Ten championship game, but I thought they looked in rhythm. I thought they were playing with a confidence that was peaking at the time, which I looked at it and said, okay, well, if you're not going to get the Milwaukee draw, and you have sort of played your way into a 3 seed and the Denver draw, well, I'll take it. I'll take some momentum. I'll take some confidence because I do believe, just like how in the NFL, if you have a team that needs to win their way in or continues to play for something as you enter, I do think, whether you believe in momentum or not, I personally do, where the mental aspect of that is so helpful in a competitive environment. So, look, there is truth that I think they look tired, but I think the momentum and the benefit and the confidence of going so far and just to beat a team like Michigan State. When you beat a team like Michigan State, I think you say to yourself, well, who can't we beat? So I think there's confidence there. So I would take it. I would take success in the Big Ten tournament, more games, even if that means more energy expenditure. I would rather take that because honestly, I know that, you look at like the Dukes of the world and Houston's, like these are the teams that got the 1 seed. Yes, they have buys that maybe the Badgers didn't benefit from. So maybe the Badgers play one more game. But I think all of those teams, when you go through your conference and you win the you win the Big Ten, you win the ACC, you win the Big 12. I think you leverage that into the tournament, and I would say you take that over an early exit where maybe you feel like you're scrambling, and then you take the court on Thursday or Friday or Saturday or Sunday based on the second round, and maybe you don't have the same swagger. So I will take a deeper run, even if that means a little bit more tired, because there is a sense of adrenaline rush that I think can compensate for that. But I do believe that, and you could look at it even with the bench points that BYU scored against or versus BYU's, is that BYU's bench was significantly better. And maybe on a, not only starters but bench, maybe they did run out of steam. So, but if I had to dial it up every year, give me a deep Big Ten run.
Well, and as David points out in the ESPN Madison YouTube comments, losing to Penn State at home on senior night, again, another Jesse reference about how maybe we shouldn't do senior night the way we do because it's such an emotional thing to try and then go out and play a game. I don't know about that, but I would say you hurt yourselves by losing that game. Right, and to Brad's point, they started playing better during the Big Ten tournament, and they needed to after the way they'd kind of stumbled down the stretch. So those are all valid points. I think they're in the Sweet 16 if they get to Milwaukee. I don't necessarily think they're in the Final Four. I hope we have a lot of appreciation for John Tonje, who was special this season and kept them alive in a game where they shot very poorly early in the game. I mean, he was magnificent the other night, and I hope people appreciate how cool it was to have him on this team. And I hope, despite their frustration with Gardo, is there a coach that has done a better job of transition? I mean, if we're being fair, and I know you're a Badger football alum, but the Badger football program is still trying to figure out the transfer portal NIL success model. And you're talking about Greg Gard, who not only navigated that, right, and lost 2 players to much bigger money at other schools, but also changed his offense thanks to Kirk Penney. And I feel good about where he's at. I know people are frustrated with him, but I don't agree with that frustration. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, we can't forget that the Badgers were projected to be like 14th in the Big Ten. There was not a lot of expectation going into the year for this team. So if you would have told me they'd be a 3 seed, they would be competitive, they were right there knocking on the door to the Sweet 16. If you told me that in November, I'd say sign me up. Now, it doesn't excuse the drought, and clearly the team was better and better coached than we thought, but considering expectations, this far exceeded expectations for even the most optimistic Badger basketball fan.
Well, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, especially since we do have a really good feel-good story from Badger Athletics, and that would be the Wisconsin women's hockey team not only winning the national title, but winning it in like one of the coolest ways possible, forcing overtime and then winning in overtime. And I was just watching this clip of Kirsten Sims, Mark Johnson asking for volunteers, and her hand going right up to get that game-tying goal. I want to get to that a little bit later in the program. I've seen a few people in the YouTube comments as well asking if we're going to get to that. We will. But I also want to get to some Packers stuff. We've got Brad here, and I do want to talk a little Badger football as well because we've got Brad here. He's so versatile. He may be my 3rd favorite punter, but he's as versatile as they come. Just like Quick Trip is, if you make a stop, and Lord knows we're on the road again this weekend, made sure we made a stop at Quick Trip on our travels. We'll be doing it again this coming weekend with State Gymnastics, and Quick Trip always has everything you need, just like Tausch is going to tell you coming up. More with Brad Nortman, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tosher here for Quick Trip. Well, life is busy, and Quick Trip gets it. And whether you're craving fresh coffee, a tasty bakery treat, or a quick grab-and-go meal or snack, Quick Trip is your go-to. Food's here. Quick Trip has a variety of apps and meals ready when you are. Plus, you always got to make room for dessert. Nature's Touch ice cream. You can get a gallon of chocolate or vanilla for $4.99. But wait, you know there's even more at Quick Trip right now. Quickery white bread for 99 cents a loaf. Get a 12-pack of sodas, 2 for $10, and Kitchen Cravings bacon wrap pork loins, 4 for $5. You can warm up on those remaining chilly days with soup bags, $6.99 every Tuesday for 36 or 40-ounce bags. And I can't get through talking about Quick Trip without mentioning the great deals on chicken. Roasted whole chicken on special for $6.99 on Mondays. Whether it's a quick bite or dinner on the go, Quick Trip is the ultimate destination. Fuel your day with quality taste. Download the Quick Rewards app and take advantage of all Quick Trip has to offer. Quick Rewards on every visit, plus you can order ahead for pickup or curbside delivery. Quick Trip. We'll see you next time.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
Churio, a high fly ball. Back, track, bye, baseball!
100.5 ESPN, your new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust. Well, it's the time of year when everybody is thinking about travel. Whether you're still finalizing details for a spring getaway or you're already on to thinking about where you'll be heading for a summer road trip, don't let vehicle maintenance be what slows you down. Make sure your vehicle is in its best shape possible every time you're getting ready to hit the road by stopping in to see the amazing service team at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Routine maintenance is critical for keeping your vehicle in the best shape possible. Oil changes, tire rotations, tune-ups, and so much more. Get it checked out before you hit the road so you're not stranded when you're away from home. And if you're in the market for a vehicle upgrade, check out Zimbrick Chevy's new and used vehicle inventory. You can start your search by logging on to ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Stop into Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie and discover this great automotive team I've been telling you about for years. Consistently recognized as a best of Madison operation, Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie. The name you can trust.
Hold your friends close and your rivals closer on Jim, Matt, and Molly.
But then you're also getting passed by the other teams. Look at the Lions. Look at the Vikings. Look at even the Bears. The moves that they are attempting to make. And that's just in your division. That's not even in your conference.
Right. And I don't disagree that we need to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. The other
teams around us. They need to be the Joneses. That's what they need to be.
Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 100.5 ESPN.
Football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
Live the high life at Nitty Gritty, home of the famous Gritty Burger and Madison's official birthday place. Celebrate your birthday at Nitty Gritty and receive a free Memento birthday mug to fill with free beer, specialty birthday cocktails, or soda all day long. The Nitty Gritty has celebrated almost 900,000 birthdays, and birthday celebrant number 900,000 will receive a $1,000 Amex gift card. Grab some friends and celebrate your birthday at the Nitty Gritty, located in Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The Nitty Gritty, a tradition since 1968.
Join the Madison Area Sports Commission live and in person for a Good Morning Sports event featuring Love Madison Volleyball. On March 31st, meet an all-star lineup of Love Madison athletes and hear about the first season of pro volleyball in Madison. Registration donations benefit the MASC Youth Grant to get kids into sports. Register online at visitmadison.com/GMS. This event is sponsored by American Family Insurance and Oak Bank, supported by ESPN Madison, and produced by the Madison Area Sports Commission.
Zimbrick Honda has been a proud part of the Madison community since 1973. They're your one-stop shop for over 250 new Hondas to choose from. Whether you're looking for a sedan, SUV, or truck, their selection of new vehicles is second to none. Stop in today at their location on Fish Hatchery Road and lease a 2025 Honda Passport EXL for as low as $349 per month. Or browse their vehicle selection online at ZimbrickHonda.com. That's ZimbrickHonda.com. Shop local, shop Zimbrick Honda.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
We'll talk some Badger women's hockey a little bit later in the program in a tournament that has been devoid of dramatics. You know me. I'm not in the mood for drama today, Jason. As Mike McCarthy once said, I do love drama. We'll get to that. But Jesse has an interesting question that he posed in the rundown, which I know Brad Nortman read.
Nice
which
change of pace.
We're not used to from people in that seat. And I don't mean other cousin subs today.
Might even ask a trivia question later if we're really spoiled.
We love you, Tausch. We miss you when you're not here. There are some aspects to the operation that are a little different than other radio programs, and we'll leave it at that. Jesse, what was the question you wanted to ask us today?
Do you think we're going to see the Wisconsin Badgers football team and or men's basketball team win a championship in our lifetimes, respectively? Because if you would ask me this question, I'm 33, I think, now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
You're unsure of your own age?
Yeah. I'm not asked what my age is very often these days, so I just have to think about it. Yeah, I think I'm 33.
Hey, quick question.
Yes.
I'm doing my Tausch.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to find my birth certificate recently for some employment-related stuff. And on my birth certificate, my parents' names are, obviously they were eventually married. But my mom's name is still her maiden name on the birth certificate, and my father's name is obviously Wilde on there. They're both long deceased, so I can't ask them about this. Does that mean this is gonna get weird briefly, and then we'll get back to how old Jesse is. I know how old I am, but does that mean they weren't married? If my mom doesn't have my last name on the birth certificate, is that what that means?
I suppose that's one reasonable explanation. I mean, in today's modern times, I don't know how it was.
That was 1972,
however many
man.
years ago. I mean, the woman is not compelled or forced to take the paternal last name. So maybe she was ahead of her time, Jason. If you want to consider it that way, but I don't know, just a strong woman that said, "I'm not taking that last name."
Well, she took it later. So
then I don't know.
Just hadn't gotten around to the paperwork yet.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
Busy
right?
week.
Paula's last name is Wilde on both the birth certificates for our small people that are not so small anymore. So I made that unexpected discovery, like Jesse just discovered he's 33 years old. All right, back to your question about being 33.
So if you would have asked me this question 10 years ago, 15 years ago, absolutely, I would have said, yes, I fully expect at some point in my lifetime, Brad Nortman will help punt the Badgers to a national championship. Or the landscape of college football, the Badgers are consistently a top 10 team, and they're in the mix every year, and just one loss away or one win against Ohio State away from competing for a national title. Wisconsin men's basketball in 2014 and 15 with the back-to-back Final Four runs. The reason why 2015 and that loss to Duke after leading was so devastating was because I wasn't sure they would ever get back to that stage, but Wisconsin men's basketball has remained competitive. They've been a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament a couple of times, and the way that college basketball has evolved, some teams that are able to grow together and have seniors that have played together for several seasons have had advantages in the NCAA tournament with solid coaching that they can overcome against teams that are transfer portal guys that have all come together and are already starting to eye the draft or what their next team is going to be in the tournament. So I'm more skeptical right now than ever that either of those teams will win a championship in my lifetime, whatever the remainder of my years on planet Earth is. And I know many listening, whether you have more or less than what you think I'll have, I'm nervous.
I don't know if I like the framing of that.
That's fair. I'm nervous.
It's getting morbid.
I'm nervous that the Badgers will not win a championship in either of these two sports while I am on planet Earth.
All right, so let's say we're both, you and I, because you and Brad, how old are you currently?
I'm 35.
All right, so let's say we're all going to live to be 86, okay? Obviously not simultaneously. So that gives me 33 years. That gives Jesse 53 years, and that gives you 51 years. So obviously you guys being younger, your lifetimes, if we all get to 86, which that's kind of my hope, which I should probably stop eating so much ice cream, would be great, right? I'll be honest, remember where I come from historically. My freshman year at the University of Wisconsin was Barry Alvarez's first year as the head coach. So they went 1-10. They beat Ball State. I sat in the student section. They were throwing cups at each other all game long. I was like, I'm never doing this again. I started working for the Badger Herald. And by the end of my college student career, they played in a Rose Bowl and gave me reason to dream that Badger football could someday be an elite program. Basketball, my senior year, Stu Jackson's coached team goes to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1947 with Tracy Webster and Michael Finley and Rashard Griffith. So I have a lot of history of the Badgers not being very good. Now I have gotten my hopes up based on 2 Final Four appearances and all the Rose Bowls and being on the precipice of the college football playoff. But now I kind of feel like, while it's not nearly as far away as it was during my childhood, I feel like we've trended back the other direction where I'm less optimistic for my lifetime. Brad, is that wrong of me to have taken that turn?
No, it is not wrong of you. And Jesse, your nerves are well-based because I'm right there with you guys. I mean, in my former life of being in finance, when you judge something, when you evaluate something and value it for investment, you look at trends, right? If one year a company has a banner year, right? Oh, tons of earnings and all that kind of stuff. Stock shoots up. But it just happens 1 out of every 25 years. You can't rely on that, right? That something is not repeatable about whatever happened that year. When I look at the Badger basketball team and Badger football team, I think that those years where we felt close, right? There were some. Let's talk about Badger football. There were some Barry Alvarez Rose Bowl years, some of the teams that I were on 2010 and 2011, the 2017 team that won 13 games. There are moments where it feels like you're close. But taken holistically, those look like blips. I think in order to win a championship, you have to consistently be that team. You have to consistently be the top 10, top 5 team because there's other teams that are just as talented, if not more talented. So you have to be able to have so many opportunities to win a national championship that then the stars align when you do it. Same thing with the national basketball team. You know, in 2014, 2015, especially in 2015 when they got to the national championship, I looked at that and I felt like when the loss occurred, it stung more than any other general national championship game, of course, that anyone else would play in because I felt like that was the shot. That was the opportunity for the basketball team to actually push it over the edge because we haven't even gotten close since then, not even a Final Four or anything like that. So the gauntlet to win a national championship in football or basketball is so hard. And not only that, the NIL era, I feel like it has pushed the Badgers further away from being a true ongoing contender because, like it or not, just other schools have bigger bankrolls, right? They can attract better high school talent, better transfer portals. And when you don't have that, you're always going to be at a disadvantage, and it's showing up in the results for the football team and the basketball team. If I had to place a bet, boy, I don't think it happens in our lifetime. I really don't. I think if it's going to happen, I think it's going to be the basketball team. I think it's a team that gets hot at the right time. Clearly, we have a system that you can be a top 3 seed and you can get yourself to the Elite 8, the Final Four. You can get hot and go on a run. That happens. That happens all the time in the tournament. For the football team, people are saying that with the expanded playoff, it actually helps the Badgers because, all you got to do is get in. All you got to do is be one of the top 12. I would argue it makes it harder because if you get to the top 12, the road from, the first games to the quarterfinals, to the semifinals, to the national championship, you are playing every great team along the way. So the great team will rise to the surface. In the years when I was playing, or even the year that there was 4 teams in the college football playoff, you only got to win 2 games. 2 games against great teams. Now it's like 3 or 4. And I think that is incredibly challenging. So not to bring this down, I mean, we're talking about
Thanks a lot,
years
Debbie
on this
Downer.
earth and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, I'm not sure the years on this earth. I'm not sure we're ever going to see it for the football or basketball team, which is what hurts. That hurts.
I know that there are Badgers because I have some as very good friends of mine. I'm talking about you, John Wesley, who are down on Fickle and the football program and think they hired the wrong guy and all those things. I am not in that group. I am still a believer that this can get figured out, but I don't like the NIL era. I don't like the transfer portal era to the degree that it allows this unfettered free agency. The fact that Penn State's backup quarterback, who played against the Badgers in a game Penn State needed to win at Camp Randall Stadium, was in the transfer portal while his team was preparing for the college football playoff, and that he just leaves the program. They have to fix that, but I don't want to get bogged down in all the logistics of how messed up all that stuff is. My struggle is it feels a lot farther away again, and I remember the feeling of 14 and 15 with Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker and Ben Brust, and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, and hoping it was the beginning of a long run of them being not necessarily a blue blood, but in the mix, making Sweet 16s all the time, making Elite Eights, being on the precipice of the Final Four. That was hard for me to imagine when Steve Yoder was coaching the team when I was in high school, etc. Now I think Gardo has really good handle on a really difficult time in college athletics, but I still think it's going to be really hard. And if you look at this year's bracket as any evidence, a lot of chalk. And I'm guessing a lot of those chalky teams have a lot of NIL money that they're spreading around as well. So it's a really good question, Jesse. I wish I could be more optimistic. The only thing I would say is that there's always a year where someone you don't expect catches lightning in a bottle. And maybe that year happens while we're still here and with a Wisconsin team. But until they change the way teams do business and until they stop the flow of exorbitant money into the pockets of players from schools that can pay it, until they have a salary cap like the NFL has that allows the Packers to compete with much bigger markets, I'm afraid that it's going to be really, really, really hard. That's how I view it.
Yeah, Jason, and when I think about it, too, we were having this discussion with some friends last night. It's almost a disadvantage. Now, this argument breaks down a little bit because you see Bama and Florida. Those have good football teams and basketball teams. But when it comes to Wisconsin, which is not a heavy hitter in NIL, it's almost a disadvantage that you have both teams that are relevant, good but not great. Because it almost seems like the NIL money gets split, right? To where each team is just sort of waiting in a pool of average NIL money. It'd be almost better if you were a team like, let's say, Marquette, where there is no football team, or if the football team stunk, well, we know all money, all focus, maybe like Kentucky, is going to go to the basketball team. So at least one of the two teams maybe would be having a bankroll that's bigger. But when the fact that both of them you would consider to be good, it almost forces you just to stay good and only good, because until things change, as you were saying, boy, I don't see how things change, because it's not unlike the Brewers in the Major League Baseball. Because what are you going to do when the Dodgers and the Yankees, when they have a payroll that's like triple what you have? You have to use obscure tactics to keep players and develop them, and sign Jackson Churio to an 8-year deal before he even has his first major league at bat. So it takes a level of brilliance and a level of luck to be able to actually do it. And I just don't know if that happens over the course of my 51 years on this planet.
Well, Brad Nortman is different from the usual person in his chair because he's read the show sheet. He's prepared for trivia. What's not different is that we still managed to mess up the clock severely. We've got one more segment left in the 9 o'clock hour at 9:59. So we're on brand for that. And speaking of brands and signature brands, they have been with us from the very beginning, and they are the best when it comes to customer service in the banking realm. That, of course, is Associated Bank. Yes, Packers checking, great. Badgers checking, awesome. Brewers checking, right on the precipice of the start of the baseball season. All great perks that come with being at Associated Bank, but it's the customer service that matters most. They've got the awards to prove it, and they've got the perks to prove it, right? They've got early pay, which allows you to have access to your direct deposit up to 2 days early. They've got fraud and credit awareness that keep you plugged in to make sure that you're in a good spot with your credit score and you're not being victim of Jesse.
Gotcha.
All right, Kayla in Sun Prairie in the middle of my read informs us, I believe they ask for mother's maiden name on your birth certificate. I'm just telling you that on our birth certificates for the girls, Paula's maiden name is, maybe it's in parentheses, not the same on my birth certificate. So my concern I still think is founded, but these are all deep, dark, Wilde family secrets that I'm not clear on. That said, Jesse, don't do that when I'm in the middle of a read.
Sorry.
And they never ask for my mother's maiden name at Associated Bank because I am protected from fraud as well. How's that for a segue? Check out AssociatedBank.com to find out more. The 10 o'clock hour is still a segment away. Stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Brewers.
They're really good at identifying talent. They're really good at developing talent.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
This is one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. Wisconsin's March journey ending Saturday, a 91-89 loss to BYU in the second round. John Tonje's potential game-tying shot no good with seconds to go. 8 years now since Bucky's last appearance in the tournament's second weekend. While the season-ending loss gut-wrenching, Greg Gard reflecting on his team's run many saw as a long shot.
Watching them grow together from the time we got together in June to now may have been the most fun, enjoyable year in my career. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament, and this group just bought in and committed to each other, and we're so much fun to be around every single day and so much fun to coach.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We're with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your projects.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Is it Waukesha or Waukesha? Brat or Brat? Is it ever okay to vacation in Minnesota? Wisconsinites can't agree on everything, but we can agree getting paid earlier is better. That's why UW Credit Union is making members direct deposits available up to 2 days earlier. Early payday at UW Credit Union. Join today. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year, it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Madison on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbliss. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
The madness has arrived at Metro Ford of Madison this month. Get behind the wheel of a 2024 Ford F-150 with 3.9% APR for 66 months plus $2,000 flex buy cash, $16.86 cost per thousand borrowed. Or drive away in the 2024 Ford Escape with 1.9% APR for 66 months plus $500 flex buy cash, $15.97 cost per thousand. Don't miss out. These offers end March 31st. Head to Metro Ford of Madison or visit metrofordofmadison.com today.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
He's got a Chevrolet that don't always run and the radio never turns down. He's got a pedigree that's no good for nothing, no commas in his bank account. But there's a girl.
We'll get to Packers offseason moves with Brad Nortman, who I'm curious if he has stopped calling the Packers we or if that still happens on KBN. But first, I do want to share this moment. Jesse, you've got the audio ready. Look, I understand that this is not a Badger women's hockey program-centric show.
It
right?
is today.
You tune in for Packers conversation and whatever nonsense Tausch thinks about. But this is a team that, and I know Evan Cohen made the point on Jim, Matt, and Molly that if you're is Wisconsin a football school? Is it a basketball school? Is it a hockey school? Evan Cohen made a very good point when he said it's a women's sports school with the volleyball program. Badger women's basketball has fallen on hard times. That's why they need to hire Brad Fisher, who just took UW Oshkosh to a Final Four.
Oh, snap.
Hope you're listening, Chris McIntosh. Better at least interview him. But I am curious. This is high drama. Like, this is really cool stuff. That the way the Badgers won their national championship over rival Ohio State. And here is the game-winning goal. Called by Jesse Nelson. Were you on the call for this?
I was not. It was on ESPNU, and I do not know the name of the broadcaster who was
outstanding.
On the call. Yep.
I knew I could count on you.
Here comes Eden. Looking. Fired. Save made. Rebound. Scores! Sims wins the national championship in overtime.
So, not to be whatever, but my career started covering Badger men's hockey, and I love overtime hockey, especially Game 7 of an NHL series, etc. Like the euphoria and the agony of defeat that come with those types of moments, hard to match, right? And what a great moment for Kirsten Sims and the Badgers and Mark Johnson. Really, really, really neat. Wouldn't you agree, Brad?
Absolutely. I mean, even if you don't follow the women's hockey program very attentively, you have to appreciate greatness when you see it. And that was greatness. And when Sims not only did that, but had the penalty shot to tie it up to send it into overtime with 18 seconds to go, I mean, the way she cooked, Jason, am I using that right? The way she cooked up there, you know, it was such grace and moving the puck. Hockey players absolutely fascinate me. When I'm on the ice, I'm like a baby giraffe, right? I'm sort of shaking and moving, and these men and ladies in this situation, man, they're so smooth and control the puck. And she it was something out of a movie. The move that she made on the goaltender to be able to score then on the penalty shot, and then finally in overtime. So just capping off an incredible game for what is they're a titan of their sport. I mean,
no doubt.
Multiple. 8 national championships since the mid 2000s. I mean, that's like 70s UCLA. That's like Alabama football the last 15 years. They are unbelievable. And it's just cool to see any Wisconsin Badger team dominate, win a national championship. But the way they do that, and points in hockey come at such a premium, right? It's like soccer, it's like baseball, to where when it happens, there's an electricity that's hard to replicate in any other sport. I love football, I love basketball. But boy, because points come at such a premium, you get chills when any point is scored, let alone a penalty shot to send it into overtime, let alone a game winner national championship. Something of a storybook ending for that season for the ladies hockey team.
We will kick off the 10 o'clock hour as late as we would if Brian Bulaga was a guest with our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs we believe in better, Baby Giraffe, Brad Nortman, in 2 minutes. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Nortman.
Nortman, it's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street, and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Highs and lows to the extreme for fans of the Wisconsin Badgers over the weekend. One of the lows, the Wisconsin men's basketball team, a 3 seed, falling in the second round of the NCAA tournament, 91-89 at the hands of the BYU Cougars. The 6 seed BYU advances to face Alabama later this week. Wisconsin still hasn't made the second weekend of the NCAA tournament since 2017, bowing out in the round of 32. On the other end, Wisconsin women's hockey wins its record 8th national title in overtime against rival Ohio State. Here's how it sounded Sunday afternoon on ESPNU.
Here comes Eden. Looking, fired, save made, rebound, scores! Sims wins the national championship in overtime.
Kirsten Sims, the game-winning goal. No other program in NCAA hockey has won 8 national titles.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch with Brad Nortman in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better, begins now. We'll spend some time discussing the Packers offseason. And let's start. First of all, I never got your answer. Are the Packers still we, even though you played for the Jaguars and the Panthers? Where are we at on that?
It slips, Jason. It still slips. I try to refer to them as the Packers, be a little bit objective, but that deep fanhood that grew out of a young boy growing up in this state, it's hard to shake. And yes, I like to see the Packers do well. Find myself rooting for them for sure. So I'll be honest. I try to refer to them as them and the Packers, but we pops up more often than I'd like to admit, which maybe isn't too bad.
Well, so then how do you feel about your team's offseason? Because free agency, for all intents and purposes, it's now just bargain bin shopping, right? Mecole Hardman being among them. But they signed 2 guys early on in the free agency process, gave a lot of money to Aaron Banks, gave less money, but still meaningful money to Nate Hobbs. So they've added a guard. They've added a nickelback / potentially outside corner. But they have watched 3 corners leave in free agency, and Jair Alexander is either getting traded or released, I think. I'm leaving open the small possibility that he's back, but I don't see that happening. They moved on from their starting center. There's a lot more departures for minimal money, I might add, than there are additions. So for you and your team, Brad, how do you feel about where the offseason stands?
Jason, I just feel like it's status quo. I feel like Goody doubled down on his approach. We had a lot of airtime talking about Devontae Adams. That didn't happen. A little bit of pie in the sky, DK Metcalf and Trey Hendrickson. That didn't happen and most likely will not happen. Even a little bit of Cooper Kupp and just things that we feel like, man, this would go out of the Packers' normal mode of operation. And I think it would move the needle. And obviously those never came into fruition. And I'm just reminded that the Green Bay Packers, Brian Gutekunst particularly, he has a system. He has a formula. And it will take a lot to make him deviate from that formula and from that track that he believes so deeply in. So it's draft and develop. It's going to be I feel like we say this every year, but this has to be the most important draft of Brian Gutekunst's tenure, because he clearly believes that is maybe not even primary, might not even be strong enough of a word. The primary way to build the roster is through the draft. And if he is going to contend that the window to win a championship is now, then those guys that you draft, they need to be immediate starters. They need to be immediate contributors, because what I saw at a free agency, look, I'm never going to argue or complain about the offensive line improving. It's critical. One of the most important position groups on any given team. And there was a need for a cornerback. So again, like the signings were, I understand them. I guess I'm surprised there wasn't more and more holes weren't filled, because here's my concern. You now put yourself in a position, being Brian Gutekunst, where you still have holes on your roster. You're still looking for a number 1 wide receiver. At a minimum, you need more depth there. You probably need an impact player on the defensive line. You need at least 1, probably 2 cornerbacks, and that's just not to take advantage of any other best available that might become available when you pick. I feel like Brian Gutekunst has sort of painted himself into a corner to where he's going to need to draft for need. He's going to need to draft an edge rusher. He's going to need to draft a wide receiver. All of those things early in order to maintain, relevance in the NFC. And it might put him in a position where he needs to reach, or maybe puts him in a position where he needs to, trade up to go get somebody. So I don't like that level of desperation that maybe he's going to be forced to operate with when the draft comes around in Green Bay in 1 month from today, which is pretty awesome. So I don't know. When talking about the Packers in general, are the moves solid? They're solid. I mean, signing Banks, the guard, and Hobbs, the cornerback, I think they're anywhere. It's probably B to B plus moves, helps the team. Those position groups got better. But I look at it on a relative basis to the Bears, to the Vikings, who have been, both of the Bears and the Vikings have been incredibly active in free agency. And the Lions, they don't really need to do a whole lot. They've got all pros all over the board. They just lost their coaches. So on a relative basis, do I think the Packers improved in the NFC North and the NFC in general? I don't think they did. And this was for a team that was a 7th seed that lost in the first round. So to have that championship window be so open and have that, that sense of urgency that he talked about when the season was over, I don't know if I see that sense of urgency in free agency.
We'll get further into that because, as we discussed on your show, while I thought that if you were going to call out your players to show a greater sense of urgency, that you would also look in the mirror and say, I also need to show more urgency. I don't think that's what happened with Goody. I don't think he believes that, because I think he believes that when GMs act in an urgent manner, they make mistakes. So that is not a criticism. That's just a reality, in my opinion, with him. We'll get into that. You said something really interesting there, which kind of ties into a story that I did on channel3000.com for our Sunday read. And that is let's do away with this concept that it's take the best player available. Just not buying it in the draft. It is filling needs with guys that you need to play right away, and then you're probably not going to re-sign most of them, which is what the numbers start to indicate with the Packers. We'll get into that as well. We need Tausch to tell us about his love of Coors Light before we get back to more with our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Brad Nortman. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Well, whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, or celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and it's cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans, they turn blue. That's when you know it is chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion, or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. Jim Rutledge here. What is a better buying experience? Well, that's the thing. You get to define it. It is the experience that is customized to you. What experience do you want at a car dealership? They can be your trusted friend or your trusted expert. So if you're in the market for a new or new-to-you Silverado, Colorado, Blazer, Trailblazer, remember, you're only minutes away from a better buying experience. And that's at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Hey football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets for the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois. Age 21 years or older. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. Well, if you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now is the time to turn to Kohler Service. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off your Lugstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote. With fast, professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Relive every high-flying dunk.
Oh! And a one-hand slam!
And fantastic finish.
We are going to overtime, folks!
From the boys' state basketball tournament.
Back-to-back state championships for the Wisconsin Lutheran Vikings.
Download all 5 state championship games on Wisconsin On Demand or wherever you get your podcasts.
Champions aren't made overnight, and neither was Pizza Hut's Stuffed Crust Pizza. They're the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others may try to copy, but they're not like Pizza Hut. For a limited time, score big with a large 3-topping stuffed crust pizza for just $11.99. It's perfect for watching big games on the go. Hurry, you won't want to miss this championship deal before it's gone. Head to one of their locations or order online at pizzahut.com. Pizza Hut, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
We're on the Badgers.
It was successful, but also disappointing. That's just what this season was. I don't think any of us went into the season going, they're going to be a 3 seed. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten championship again.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Continuing with Brad Nortman, our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs. We believe in better. A lot of reaction in the YouTube comments where Jesse does occasionally offend people by calling them dwellers. The round table has not caught on, though. And Jesse's right about that. No one considers it the YouTube round table.
I'm open to suggestions if you can come up with a better one, but the round table is just not it. John or whoever came up with that, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's fair. And look, I think there's also, and Brad, you know, obviously you having played in the league for a long time, you know how the league works. First of all, Goody is more, I've said this from the very beginning, Goody is far more Ted Thompson than he is Ron Wolf. He believes in draft and develop, and then move on from many of those draft picks, the John Runyons, who in past eras may have merited a second contract. But for him, he said it, 1.6 players per draft on average get a second contract. And right now, based on 2020 and 2021, he's below that at 1. Jordan Love, Isaiah McDuffie right now on that list from his era. And only 5 players since he took over have gotten those contracts. You can read about that at channel3000.com. But I agree with him. If you look at this free agency class, there was no Xavier McKinney to go sign. There was no Josh Jacobs to sign. And you don't want him, you don't want to be raising off-season championship banners. Oh, we spent the most cap space. Like, the Bears have won a lot of those titles, and they're still wandering in the wilderness. Now, could that change this year? Absolutely it could, right? They solidified the interior of their offensive line in front of a quarterback that they used the number 1 overall pick on. So they did some things that they needed to do. They hired a new – all those things could pan out for them. But I don't think the Packers were in a position where they needed to just spend money willy-nilly. They do have to count on the Dontavion Wickses and the Jaden Reeds and even the Romeo Dobbses, if he's healthy and he decides to come to work every week. They need those guys to make a jump. They need Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker and Carl Brooks to make big jumps. They need LVN to play like a first-round pick, which has not happened. And to your point, Brad, we don't have a lot of evidence to say that is definitely going to happen. But those are all things that they need to have happen if they're going to get to a Super Bowl. And that's a lot to put on those players with those expectations.
Yeah, and Jason, don't you think, because that's what I hear. That's what I hear from coaches, from Goody himself. That's even what we talk about on a daily basis is how many guys that are young, because outside of Jordan Love and Isaiah McDuffie, those 2020 and 2021 drafts, that should be the core of your team right now. Right? Like you look at the Lions and the Eagles and the teams that are contenders, the core superstars of their team are from those drafts. So the fact that Goody did not hit those, except for maybe the most important position in Jordan Love, it's making for a tilted young team and for this narrative that we have to see step forwards from, I mean, you listed a bunch of guys, but there's probably 7 to 8 players where you could say he's got to take a step. He's got to take a step. We need to see more out of him. Don't you think that Goody is maybe placing too much weight, risk, however you want to put it, in relying on those guys taking the next step. That's a lot. That's a lot to lean and put the weight of your season on, is just saying, okay, all these second, third, and fourth year guys, this is the time we need to take the step forward. That concerns me going into the year, because at some point, most of these guys are who they are. Yes, there's Zach Bonds of the world who are solid linebackers that become all pro, right? With a new team and a new system, like he did from, going to the Philadelphia Eagles, former Wisconsin Badger. My concern going into this year is, how am I supposed to project that all these guys are going to take a step forward and catapult the Packers to the top of the NFC? That just concerns me.
Yeah, and again, you can only sign the players that are available. And Xavier McKinney had no business being on the market. And you got him, and he was a game changer for you. Nate Hobbs, that could turn out to be a fantastic signing, but it certainly isn't the kind of stuff that gets your fan base excited. Certainly Aaron Banks signing a left guard, that people don't get excited about that. People get excited about trades for DK Metcalf. But that doesn't mean what gets people excited is what's best for your team. So I am going to give Goody some grace and somewhat of a pass to see how this works out. But he needs to have another strong... He's put himself in a position where he has to have really his fourth straight strong draft. Because if you look at what they've done, and look, the 2020 and 21 drafts, you can say till the cows come home that, well, we don't believe, it's a different era. We don't re-sign everybody like we used to during Ted or during Ron's career. And he's right, and that's what the point of my story was. But at the same time, they're not all just guys that were good, but we didn't want to re-sign them guys. Some of them were just flat-out misses. Picking a running back in the second round like you did with A.J. Dillon, and we all love A.J. Dillon. He married a Green Bay girl. He's the mayor of Door County. All those, does great things in the community. He had an opportunity to become the number one running back. They did everything they could to make him the number one running back instead of Aaron Jones. And it didn't happen. And so that's a premium draft pick. You drafted a center and had the better center drafted the very next pick in Creed Humphrey in Josh Myers. I love Josh Myers as a guy. If he was available to be a Cousins sub of the day, I would want to bring him in during Tausch's sabbatical. But did he play at an elite level at center? The Pro Football Focus grades would indicate no. So there's a lot of, Jace Sternberger instead of Terry McLaurin. And I know every GM has those types of picks. I get it. But the hit rate, not as high. And now he's had a great hit rate of late, right? The 2022 draft. Think about the roles these guys play in this team. Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, Christian Watson, Sean Ryan, Romeo Dobbs, Zach Tom, Kingsley Enagbare, Rasheed Walker. All those guys are either starters or de facto starters. I would argue Kingsley Enagbare is a better player than LVN right now. So you put that draft, you got a lot of guys, you got to figure out what you're going to do there. The 23 draft, we don't know about Lucas Van Ness, what he's going to become. Luke Musgrave's been hurt a ton. We think Jaden Reed is going to be a good player. He's shown those moments. We think Dontavion Wicks can be a good player. We think Tucker Kraft is clearly a stud. That was a really good third-round pick. And then last year, you had 3 rookies on defense who all contributed in Edgerrin Cooper, in Evan Williams, and in Javon Bullard. And there's other guys that did next to nothing last year that you now need to have productive second seasons. To your point, though, Brad, that's putting a lot on all those draft classes plus this one to get you where you want to go. And that may not be realistic.
Yeah, and Jason, I look at this next draft class, and I want to ask you this question. If the Packers are going to be contenders in the NFC in 2025, let's say a top 3 NFC team, right? How many starters does Goody need to draft in this upcoming draft?
We will explore that. Do you have a number in mind when you ask that question?
I have a number, but I'm curious on your number.
All right. We will get into that as we roll on with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. I managed to make a GIF, by the way. I'm kind of proud of this because we don't have the Twitter video feed up today. So I just tweeted out the YouTube links. And I did make a GIF of the fake punt that we always hear Sean McDonough on the call. Great call and great execution. So that's there as well on social media, so you can find that. We will talk more Packers offseason with Brad Nortman after Tausch tells us about American Family Insurance. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Hey, Packer fans, dreaming of the ultimate draft day experience? Well, the American Family Insurance Dream Draft Sweepstakes is your chance to win a VIP trip to the NFL Draft in Green Bay. Imagine this. You and a guest could score exclusive tickets, hotel accommodations, custom merchandise, and more. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you don't want to miss. Head over to amfam.com/Packers and enter today. That's amfam.com/Packers. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the state of Wisconsin. 21 years of age or older. Enter by 11:59 Central Time on March 24th. See official rules at amfam.com/Packers.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
With the next pick in the big draft, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dane County selects you. As we count down to the draft in Green Bay, Big Brothers and Big Sisters is also counting on you to help meet the growing demand of mentorship in our community. Become a role model, a motivator, a supporter, a positive influence. Empower the young people in our community to create a brighter future for all. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Dane County presents The Big Draft in partnership with the NFL Inspire Change. Learn how to get involved at bbbsmadison.org.
Join the Madison Area Sports Commission live and in person for a Good Morning Sports event featuring Love Madison Volleyball. On March 31st, meet an all-star lineup of Love Madison athletes and hear about the first season of pro volleyball in Madison. Registration donations benefit the MASC Youth Grant to get kids into sports. Register online at visitmadison.com/GMS. This event is sponsored by American Family Insurance and Oak Bank, supported by ESPN Madison, and produced by the Madison Area Sports Commission.
Professional volleyball is in full swing from here in Madison. Don't miss a second of the action. Cheer on Love Madison Volleyball as they make history with some of the best players in the world. Olympic medalists, NCAA All-Americans, and one of the most talented rookie classes ever. This is volleyball at its highest level. Experience the excitement yourself. Get your tickets today at lovb.com. Volleyball is the next major league.
Waiting to see a general surgeon? With Stoughton Health, it's always easy access, with most appointments within a week. And with over 160 insurances accepted, you're covered and in good hands. For more information, visit stoughtonhealth.com. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Brewers baseball is in the air.
It's back, and it is up, and it is gone. A walk-off homer for Vinny Capra.
Spring back into the baseball season on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Take my heart, don't break it. Love me to my bones. All this time I wasted. You were right there all along. You and I start gazing intertwining souls. We were
Continuing with Brad Nortman, our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs. We believe in better. All right, Brad, what was your question again for those that weren't tuned in? Unlike Tausch, I was listening, so I remember it. But for everyone's edification, share it again.
I would love to, Jason. So my question was, in the 2025 draft, for the Packers to be true Super Bowl contenders in the NFC, so I would say a top 3 NFC team, how many starters does Brian Gutekunst have to draft in the 2025 draft for them to do that? And I think of a starter, not like, I love special teams, but I'm not thinking like a special team starter. I'm talking about offense, defense, the guy's getting 80+% of the snaps, and not even going as far as saying he needs to be like a stud, like a Pro Bowl stud right away, but a legitimate starter where he makes plays, he's not an ongoing liability, and he is a contributor, a positive contributor to this team. How many starters does Goody need to draft in this upcoming draft?
So let's go position by position, because that's what I did during the break in my brain, okay? They have their starting quarterback. Check. They have their starting running back, and they really like Emmanuel Wilson, and they're really intrigued by what Marshawn Lloyd can do. So check, right?
Yep,
at wide receiver, I know they don't have a clear-cut number one, but I think Goody really thinks that this is the year for Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks to become really, really good players. We'll see if he's right or wrong, but they did not make the leap that I'm sure Goody or I expected. But I don't think they need to draft a starting wide receiver. I don't. You may disagree. Do you disagree?
I do disagree for a couple of reasons. One is I'm a little concerned about, again, relying on these guys to collectively take a step forward. Now, I like Jaden Reed. I think Romeo Doubs is pretty consistent when he's there, physically and mentally. And Dontavion Wicks, we see flashes, but I don't know if I trust Dontavion Wicks to be a reliable number 3, and we know Christian Watson's going to be out for a while. So wide receiver is one for me where I think you got to draft a guy that's going to be, wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. And
so if he's 3, do you think of him as because I agree with you. So I don't think our disagreement is as vast. Yeah. I don't think they have to draft a guy that walks in as the number 1 wide receiver, like if they trade up from 23. But I think they need a guy that's going to fill the void created by Christian Watson's injury and a guy that contributes immediately at that position. So whether that's a 2nd or 3rd round pick, I do believe they have to draft one. So I don't disagree with you there.
And maybe we're splitting hairs on what a starter is. But to me, and I'll go as far as saying this, yes, they have to draft a guy that would be a top 2 wide receiver on the team. Okay. Romeo Doubs or Jaden Reed, whoever you want to put as maybe the number 1 right now, I would probably lean to Jaden Reed. But the reality is, too, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, they're going into their last year of their contracts. So in the same way, Goody's thinking about the offensive line, how you got 3 of 5 starters that are going to be, needing a contract or walking. Mm-hmm. Boy, it's the same thing with wide receivers, because if those guys leave and you haven't filled it this year, then you are really depleted going forward.
So we kind of agree splitting hairs at wide receiver. They don't need to draft a starting tight end. I think they've got 2 starting caliber tight ends, but there's a big question mark with Luke Musgrave I don't care that he's not a great blocker like Tucker Kraft is. What I want him to be, if I'm a Packers fan, is a guy that catches a ton of balls.
Yep.
And he has to stay healthy in order to be able to do that. The offensive line, I don't think they need to draft an immediate starter. But again, to your point, 60% of the current starting offensive line is a free agent after the season. So that may not be they need a starter today, but are they going to re-sign Sean Ryan? Again, going back to my Channel 3000 story, I'm guessing probably not. So they're going to be replenishing their depth there. And whether Travis Glover or Jacob Monk from last year's draft are ready to be starters if somebody gets hurt, that's another question here. So that is a place that I think they will expend multiple draft picks. Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball. They have invested heavily in the defensive line. They've drafted LVN. They've drafted Rashawn Gary. They've drafted Devontae Wyatt. They've drafted and signed to 2 subsequent contracts, Kenny Clark. And that group wasn't good enough last year. And we can blame the new system and everything else, but the bottom line is it wasn't good enough. They had to use smoke and mirrors to generate a pass rush. This is the problem with drafting 23rd and not having someone in free agency that filled that void. They need a starter. They let TJ Slayton walk in free agency. I don't have a problem with that, but they clearly need a starter there. So we can be muddling around on the wide receiver question. This one, I would argue, is a no-brainer, is it not?
No-brainer for sure. This one was the first one I wrote down, to be quite honest, is need on the defensive line. And you can shift it around how you want to. D-end, D-tackle. I'd probably say D-end is maybe more of a need, unless you really see that jump in Lucas Van Ness or Rashawn Gary also takes that jump. But it was too glaring of a need throughout the year. And the inability to get a rush with 4. We see how critical that is in the playoffs. So this one is obvious to me, and it makes me a little sick if I was a Packer fan too. And I don't want to disparage the guys that are on the team, but if you are putting, it's almost like when you have a house that's sort of a money pit, you just keep on putting more and more and more resources into it, and you're just not seeing the return. So the idea that Goody's going to have to spend another first-round draft pick, likely or probably, on D-line when you already have 3 guys that are first-round draft picks and a couple guys that are, signed to a 3rd contract, a 2nd contract. If these guys were just to perform to the level of their investment, we wouldn't have this conversation.
Nope.
But because they haven't, you just got to keep throwing money and keep throwing resources at it, which drives me a little crazy, but you got to address the need if it's a need, and it's a need.
Yeah. So then we go to linebacker, which is not as important of a position as it used to be in a 3-4, plus those guys that were outside linebackers are now defensive ends. But look, they got 2 guys that they think are really good players. I would argue, and I'm getting some pushback in the YouTube comments, I thought Quay Walker turned a corner last year, and then he got hurt in Seattle. But I thought he turned a corner. Now, was it a huge corner to where he's now an all-pro level player? No, I'm not saying that. But is he a decent NFL starter? Yes. And was his arrow finally pointing in the right direction? Is he in a system where I think he can be better? Was he running around holes instead of filling them as often last year as he was in the 3-4 under Joe Barry? No. So I think there are encouraging signs from him. And we obviously know Edgerrin Cooper is a natural playmaker. We saw that from him as a rookie. And Isaiah McDuffie is a solid, consistent glue guy that you know as well as anyone, having played in the NFL, you need those type of guys. So I think, again, if we're talking about starters for 2025, I don't think they need to draft a linebacker. But they got to figure out how good is Quay Walker, because that 5th-year option is an astronomical number. And I don't think they want to pay him that for 1 year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And it's going to be hard to figure out what the future of Quay Walker looks like, because you do see flashes. And I actually think with this linebacker room, I always try to think of the side of the ball as if, like, so in this situation, if I'm an opposing offense and I'm trying to scout the Packers and I'm trying to look at the depth chart, look at the players, and circle the guys, hey, we got to stop this guy and we got to stop this guy. This guy can't make plays. With the emergence of Edgerrin Cooper, that's who the teams are going to be focusing on. And I think Cooper's still going to get his. So I think with Isaiah McDuffie being sort of the veteran, right place, right time, stable, plus playmaker and Edgerrin Cooper, I think it frees up Quay Walker to be more of the X factor, to be more of the guys that won't be focused on when it comes to game planning, blocking, all that kind of stuff. And it could actually allow him to be the best version of himself. So I actually like the room. I'm surprised I'm saying that, but I think you're right. The emergence of Quay Walker, plus how the room is crafted, I think they're in a pretty good spot at linebacker, at least for this year.
And I would still argue that you need a guy like Eric Wilson, veteran guy, consistent on special teams. Dude started 12 games, made a ton of plays. Like, I understand he's 30, but he wouldn't have cost you much. He went to the Vikings. I would predict he will help the Vikings. Again, he's not Ray Lewis, but there are value in those type of guys, and apparently Goody and I disagree on that. All right, quickly, the safety position is covered. You drafted 3 of them last year, and you got Xavier McKinney in free agency. But the corner position, look, I am a Keyshawn Nixon guy. He has become one of my guys. I love his brashness. He's like the anti-Wilde when it comes to, like, cockiness. And I love that about him. I wish I could be like him. And he's a straight shooter, man. Like, he has no filter. Like, I want to be CB1. I'm not returning kicks no more. Like, I enjoy him thoroughly. And I do think, in fairness to him, he proved that he is more than just a kick returner. He is more than just a slot guy. He can be a good outside corner. But Keyshawn, if you're listening, take this as a challenge. When I think of shutdown corners, you got a little more to prove before I'm willing to say, yeah, this guy's a CB1. And you can rub it in my face, and I know you will, when I'm wrong. And you have 6 picks, and you show that you are a number 1 corner. And I would say this about Keyshawn. I wouldn't bet against him. Because think about, I mean, he was a nobody in Vegas. Like, they had no idea what they had in him. He came here. The Packers didn't know what they had him either, right? I mean, then they finally give him the kick return job halfway through the 22 season, and he's an all-pro. 23, he's an all-pro returner, and he's a really top-flight interior cover guy in the slot. And then last year, Jeff Hafley sees him as being able to play outside, and with all the time Jair missed, he was their CB1. So I challenge him to be even better. If you're going to be that lockdown guy, that's a big ask. They've signed Nate Hobbs. They feel really good about Carrington Valentine, who is a 7th-round pick who could end up, as I've said, in the Tausch, Donald Driver pantheon of great 7th-round picks. With all that said, they need to draft a starting corner. Agree or disagree?
Agree, right there, too. So that will bring my number to 3. 3 total starters, which is a lot. That's a lot of starters to be on a potential. Right away. Ability to play at the NFL level right away, because I'm right there with you. I mean, I love, you talk about Keyshawn Nixon, his brashness. I don't know if I would call him a great cornerback. I think he's good. But what I do like is every good to great cornerback that I've ever met, college or NFL, they have a almost an irrational sense of self that's bloated and ego and all that kind of stuff. And like unfailingly, every great corner I've ever interacted with had that. This high degree in confidence in self that almost borders lines on irrationality. So I like that when I hear that about Nixon, because it's such a hard position to defend a wide receiver who knows the route they're going to run. You need to have almost a level of irrational sense of self to be able to do that and do that at a high level. So with all that being said, you got to remember, I know Jair Alexander was inconsistent with availability. That's just the best way I can put it. But dude was an all-pro corner consistently for the years he was fully healthy, and when he was mentally engaged and when he was physically available, he was still great. So it's not like the room is in neutral. You're likely going to lose Alexander, putting you a step back. You sign Hobbs, which gets you closer to where neutral is, but I don't think Hobbs and Alexander is a one-for-one trade. So I think when you look at this, I think you're right. You got to draft a cornerback who's going to be capable of being a year-one starter. So for me, it's wide receiver, D-line, cornerback, guys that need to be starters, and like names that Packer fans would know by week 8. Like, oh, that's the guy they drafted. I've seen him make plays. I like him. That we need that narrative midway through the season for 3 positions. So Goody, challenge extended for the 2025 draft.
And let's be honest, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You miss on Eric Stokes. You draft him in the first round. He should be a guy that is a starter for a first and second contract. He didn't get the 5th-year option. He leaves after 4 years. Now, look, he did not sign a big contract with the Raiders. So he had a 1-year prove-it deal. So he's got to prove it now to the entire NFL that he is as good as his draft status. But when you miss, that puts pressure on you elsewhere. We just talked about the defensive line, all those first-round picks, and we're still saying they have to invest in the defensive line. You
Crazy.
you can't have that. That's what happens, and that's what makes it challenging to build your roster. All right, we're talking about the draft. There are some other interesting little tidbits, including where Goody was over the weekend at a pro day, that would lend credence to something Brad Nortman just said. We will get to that coming up. But speaking of the draft, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 NFL Draft right here in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Verizon locations. I don't think I'm eligible because I'm voicing this, but Paula needs a new SIM card, so we are actually headed to the Verizon in Green Bay today. You can enter there. You have to be entered by April 13th. So, again, it is the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. You can be one of those 10 lucky winners. You just got to go to one of the Verizon locations before April 13th to enter. Now, here's the legal fine print. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com. Always wanted to do that. We will continue with Brad Nortman. I will tell you the little tiny tidbit that may lend credence to ending the drought of first-round wide receiver draft picks. We'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
If they're not better this year,
because we're on Wisconsin sports,
there's going to be a lot of seats warming up.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here for one of my favorite places, Pizza Hut. From settling in at the opening tip to an extra slice during the 7th inning stretch, make the delicious options from Pizza Hut the perfect addition to any game day this time of year. Having the whole crew over to your place for the night, or getting home just in time on your own to see your team in action. Well, either way, Pizza Hut has you covered. Order the original stuffed crust pizza, the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others try to copy, but none are like Pizza Hut. Take advantage of this championship deal right now at Pizza Hut. You can get a large 3-topping stuffed crust pizza for just $11.99. Well, you know I've loved Pizza Hut going back to the days when I was a kid participating in their legendary Book It program. It was great then, and it's great making new memories with my family now. Hurry in or order online today at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhafels. Test Rest a Beauty Rest Black for your chance to win a dream Hawaiian vacation. Shop now and save up to $400 on Beauty Rest Black mattresses only at Steinhafels. Wisconsin's March journey ending Saturday, a 91-89 loss to BYU in the second round. 8 years now since Bucky's last appearance in the tournament's second weekend. While the season-ending loss gut-wrenching, Greg Gard reflecting on his team's run many saw as a long shot.
Watching them grow together from the time we got together in June to now may have been the most fun, enjoyable year in my career. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament, and this group just bought in and committed to each other, and we're so much fun to be around every single day and so much fun to coach.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
When you've been seriously injured, you'll need a team with knowledge and experience to get the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
With the next pick in the big draft, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dane County selects you. As we count down to the draft in Green Bay, Big Brothers and Big Sisters is also counting on you to help meet the growing demand of mentorship in our community. Become a role model, a motivator, a supporter, a positive influence. Empower the young people in our community to create a brighter future for all. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Dane County presents The Big Draft in partnership with the NFL Inspire Change. Learn how to get involved at bbbsmadison.org.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Wisconsin.
Hi, this is Brian Posick, and I can't wait for Marco Siki's Casting for Kids Fishing Tournament coming up Saturday, May 17th on the Madison Chain of Lakes. It's a great time, great people, all for a great cause. There's lunch, dinner, raffles, and auctions, all to support the American Family Children's Hospital, UW Carbone Cancer Center. Plus a chance to win an Alumacraft fishing boat from Don's Marine. Join us on the water May 17th. Donate or partner with us. Learn more and register at castingforkids.org. That's casting4kids.org.
Join the Madison Area Sports Commission live and in person for a Good Morning Sports event featuring Love Madison Volleyball. On March 31st, meet an all-star lineup of Love Madison athletes and hear about the first season of pro volleyball in Madison. Registration donations benefit the MASC Youth Grant to get kids into sports. Register online at visitmadison.com/GMS. This event is sponsored by American Family Insurance and Oak Bank, supported by ESPN Madison, and produced by the Madison Area Sports Commission.
Welcome. The 2025 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
The NFL Draft is now underway.
Live from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With the first pick.
Thursday, April 24th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Tonight's the weekend.
So Brad Nortman, our cousin sub of the day, you are well acquainted with the fact that the Packers have not drafted a wide receiver in the first round since 2002. Jesse was alive. He was a little tiny person, little toddler person. Well, maybe a little bit older than that. But Jordan Reed of ESPN, he's one of the draft analysts for ESPN, reported that the only NFL GM that was at Arizona's Pro Day, which included Tataroa McMillan, who is one of the few wide receivers with a first-round grade. The fact that Goody was there might mean nothing, right? Might mean nothing. He goes to a lot of pro days. He is one of those GMs. He's like a old-school scout like Ted. He wants to go to as many pro days on campus as he can. So maybe that's nothing, but maybe that's something. And McMillan is one of the, I think, 3 wide receivers that our favorite NFL draft analyst and someone who I think we're still waiting for Tausch to fully apologize to, Mel Kiper, has as a first-round pick. Could this be the year And could McMillan be the guy that replaces Javon Walker in the history books and finally ends that? Because if they do that, then they clearly agree with you, Brad. They need a starting wide receiver from this draft.
Yeah, Jason, I know you're close with everyone in Green Bay, people in the organization. You need to contact the Green Bay Packer Pro Shop and tell them to start making room for that jersey, because darn it, this is the year. I've been saying this on KBN. Maybe I'm just trying to will it to happen, and maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I think this is the year that Goody actually does draft a wide receiver 1 in the first round. And this is just another reading of the tea leaves, so to speak, to where, I mean, he's the only GM there. He must know that this is going to send messages down there, because it's one thing to invite, these couple of DNs that came in for the official visits for the Green Bay Packers last week. So that maybe leads you to believe that maybe they're interested in a D lineman. But to fly all the way from Green Bay to Arizona, you don't just do that for the sun in March. You do that because you're doing your homework on a guy that I believe there's a handful of guys, him included, that had that that rare first round grade. I just think that, look, I know, kind of joking aside, I know that this goes against Goody's belief system. I know he said, I believe it was at the Combine, they don't have some sort of deep-seated belief that you just don't take wide receivers in round one. But he just never felt like the value was there. Totally understand that. I just think this is year 3 for Jordan Love as a starter. And it's year 2 of making big money on that second contract. I don't think this team, Jordan Love or Goody himself, want to see another season where Jordan Love isn't a top 10 quarterback, doesn't have plenty of weapons to his disposal, and isn't making subtle, very Jordan Love-esque comments after one of the games where he said the receivers need to win their one-on-one battles. I mean, that's about as far as Jordan Love could ever get in criticism, I would imagine, because he's a very upstanding man, so it seems. I don't know him, but that's what it seems like. It just seems to me
upstanding man.
Yeah, you could comment on that more than I could, but
he does seem like a good guy and a good teammate. Yes,
he sure does. He doesn't seem
like an upstanding
man.
One could say
an upstanding man. He doesn't,
or maybe
he doesn't
just
seem
Brad.
Like, he doesn't seem like the guys in the past that would maybe put fellas on blast. We'll put it that way. So I just think that to get you've already solidified the O-line. Great. That means he has time. Still's got to throw it to somebody who is a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. Nothing can help your quarterback like having a guy like that. I mean, look at the rotation of quarterbacks they have in Minnesota. I mean, they've got it's nice when you have Justin Jefferson that can get space on just about anyone, and a brilliant mind in Kevin O'Connell calling the plays. Well, you got that with Matt LaFleur. Just give me that number 1 wide receiver, and Jordan Love, watch him just like that become the top 10 quarterback, top 5 quarterback maybe that we've all been waiting for and hoping for.
We will kick off the 11 o'clock hour with upstanding man Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day. We'll be back in 2 minutes, so stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
This is Derek Engler. You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by Milwaukee Brewers Baseball on ESPN Madison. Don't miss opening day in the Bronx when the Brewers visit the Yankees to start the 2025 MLB season. Brewers-Yankees Thursday afternoon on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. The highs and the lows of being a Wisconsin Badgers fan experienced by all over the weekend. The highs, the Wisconsin women's hockey team winning their 8th national title. That is a record. No other program in the country has ever won 8 national championships. They did it in overtime against Ohio State. Here's how it sounded on ESPNU.
Here comes Eden, looking, fired, save made, rebound, scores! Sims wins the national championship in overtime!
Absolutely electric in Minnesota as the Badgers win their 8th national title. Kirsten Sims, the game winner in overtime. Badger basketball, of course, falls to BYU in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Wilde and Tausch continues now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now with Brad Nortman in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. You mentioned the other teams in the NFC North and in the NFC a little bit earlier. Well, let's take a look, and Jesse loves a good pun. Let's take a look at the rest of the NFC Nortmen.
Oh,
man. Clever. Do you feel this apprehension that these other teams in the NFC North have improved themselves? Like, I don't know, the Vikings have worked to improve their offensive line in front of what will now be a first-year starting quarterback with Aaron Rodgers allegedly out of the mix for them. At the same time, they're going to have a first-year starting quarterback who did not play as a rookie and also did not practice as a rookie because of that knee injury that he had. The Bears are the Bears. They seem to have improved their team, but I'll believe it when I see it based on their track record. And the Lions, while they made some moves, they also lost both of their starting corners, one who they released in Darius Slay, the other one, well, no, not Darius Slay, but their stud corner that Tausch was so concerned about that I'm now blanking on his name. They have the biggest losses. Both of their coordinators became head coaches. So that is a change for them. So when you look at the Packers in relation to the divisional teams, are you concerned that they got better than the Packers did?
I think the other teams, how do I want to phrase this so I represent it accurately? I think the other teams, well, let's go team by team. I think Bears, who represent the floor of the division, which is undebatable, I think they got better, significantly better. You got Ben Johnson, and we've always said it's the trenches, particularly the O-line, that the Bears just miss on, whether they're not drafting O-linemen, and it's just, I mean, I still have images of all these quarterbacks for the Bears just sacked lunch left and right, running for their lives. They could never get it going, even if they did have good skill positions. Now, they've got their seemingly quarterback of the future, and they got some pretty quality skill guys. I mean, they invested heavily on not just speculative offensive linemen, like been there, done that offensive linemen, plug and play. So they gotten better, for sure. So the floor has gone up as far as the bottom of the division. I think looking at the top of the division, when you look at the Detroit Lions, losing your coordinators is going to hurt. I think they still have so many studs all over the ball. I do think they're going to remain the favorite of the division. I think we're going to see a little bit of pullback. What does losing your coordinators amount to? Maybe a game or two here and there. So I think that they've come down slightly, but still have a commanding lead on the rest of the division, and the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe the most fascinating of all the teams in the division, because they really bulked up. They bulked up their O-line, their D-line. They're already very skilled when it comes to skill positions on offense. They've got some caliber guys in the back end on defense. Maybe, right there with the Lions, the most complete team. But the ultimate question mark is Kevin O'Connell a magician when it comes to quarterbacks? And can a rookie quarterback, well, it'd be second year, but first-year starter, come in and play Sam Darnold level, maybe right around there, capable of coordinating that offense and being effective? That's the biggest question mark. So if anything, maybe not that the Packers really lost ground, but the whole division compressed, I feel like, to where, and that's a dangerous place to be. They were already 1-5 last year in the division, but there is no easy out against any team in the division. For sure not the Vikings and the Lions. And now the Bears, I don't think they've reached the Packers status, but they've gained ground compared to what the offseason looked like for the Packers. So I think there's a compression that occurred. I think they're all capable. And I think every division game is going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be a test. And a lot of divisions around the NFL, you can point to one or two teams and they say they stink. That's an easy win. And even for all the love that we give Rodgers and Favre, and we should because they're excellent players, they operated in a time where it was fairly manageable to dominate the NFC Central, then becoming the NFC North. Now, there were good teams throughout, for sure, but I can't remember the NFC North from top to bottom being so good. And I think that's going to get in the way of the Packers' ability to, not only win the division, but secure a home game. It's, in my opinion, never been harder to win the division. And honestly, in my opinion, never been more important to do so because there's more playoff games. And I believe the road to the Super Bowl, even though the history of the Green Bay Packers being a 1 seed and losing, or going on that magical run in 2010 when they were a wild card, being a top seed and having a bye or at least some home games, so critical to a Super Bowl run. So, yeah, that's just the problem, is that these moves and maybe the limited amount of moves that the Packers made, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's happening on a relative basis to the rest of the NFL, let alone the division. And when other teams are getting better, you relatively lose ground. So, in my opinion, the division compressed because it's become more challenging, and it's just going to be another just journey just to get to a wild card seed, because all 6 of those games are going to be very, very hard to get wins.
And look, the Packers obviously had their struggles, 1-6 within the division, and essentially one fingertip away from 0-6, if we're being, again, honest about how things went against a Bears team that wasn't that good. But 3 teams from the division made the playoffs, right? 2 wild cards. What's crazy when you look back on the division as a whole, in 1997, this can't be right. This has got to be a Wikipedia mistake here, right? In 1997, back when they were the NFC Central, the Packers won the division. Obviously, the defending Super Bowl champs went back to the Super Bowl. But the Buccaneers, Lions, and Vikings all made it as wild cards. So the only team in that 5-team division that didn't make it was the Bears.
Wow.
That's big time right there.
That's got to be the only time. That's got to be the only time 4 teams from a division made the playoffs. It's got to be. Or at least in modern NFL history.
I will have to fact check that. And since we like to fact check things on this show, we usually have to do it with the trivia answers because we never know if Jesse's gotten them right. Jesse, what's today's category and what caller would you like?
Feel pretty confident in the sports weekend recap questions today. I was very attentive this weekend, so don't think I messed any of these up. There's 16 teams left in the NCAA tournament. Caller 16.
16 callers. Wow, that's ambitious of you. Caller 16 right now. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Caller 16 plays Wilde and Tausch trivia after Tausch tells us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Trivia's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Well, we talk a lot about the unprecedented quality and service you get from Pella. But talking to the people who work there, you can tell how much they genuinely love what they do. Pella's team is with you from start to finish. They don't disappear after the sale. Right now, take advantage of windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Certain restrictions do apply. This offer ends March 31st, 2025. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
We shopped at Chalmers because my husband wanted to get me a larger diamond in my engagement ring.
The folks at Chalmers said, well, you know, we could just make it like this and we could do these things. Really just basically decided that there wasn't any place else we wanted to shop.
But not only did they create this new engagement ring for me with this gorgeous center stone, they also rehabbed this other ring, and I am beyond pleased.
Her favorite thing to do now is to walk around and show her hands and have people comment on it.
Professional volleyball is in full swing from here in Madison. Don't miss a second of the action. Cheer on Love Madison Volleyball as they make history with some of the best players in the world. Olympic medalists, NCAA All-Americans, and one of the most talented rookie classes ever. This is volleyball at its highest level. Experience the excitement yourself. Get your tickets today at lovb.com. Volleyball is the next major league.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Being a kid isn't always easy, and dealing with anxiety, depression, or other mental health challenges can make life overwhelming. At Unity Point Health Meritor, the Child and Adolescent Psychiatry program is here to help. Their expert team provides compassionate, specialized care to support kids and teens on their journey to better mental health. To learn more about children and adolescent psychiatry and explore their resources, visit unitypoint.org/Madison, because no one should struggle alone.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Let's play some trivia. Let's welcome in our contestant. Now, wait a minute. Is Brad actually going to participate in this? Like, you're actually going to read a question?
Whoa, wait. What's the hesitancy to me being involved in this segment?
I was very excited that we'd have a cousin sub of the day who can contribute and ask questions, but there's been plenty of controversy over the months and years that you guys have executed Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust on Kyle Brust and Nortman, and that's fair. A lot of that falls on your hands there, old Norty.
Nothing like asking the question and saying the answer multiple times when doing it. But you know what it is, though? Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust? It's the timer, it's pace, it's stress. I feel like with Wilde and Tausch trivia, it's a comfortable environment. We're all friends on Wilde and Tausch trivia, so maybe I'm in a better headspace to ask the question if you give me the opportunity.
I'm just happy that we have a co-host that's willing to ask the question, since Tausch is basically retired from that. Except for when he just decides randomly he's going to do it. So you've got question 2, Brad. I've got questions 1 and 3, and we've got our contestant. It is Justin in Milwaukee. Justin, good morning. How are you today?
Okay, guys, doing well, and I have confidence in Brad. He's done well on beat Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust? I've beat Ben twice on that show, so.
Attaboy, Justin. Thanks for the support. I appreciate that, Justin.
Well, I don't have any doubts about Brad either, but 2 Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust victories, that intrigues me, and I'm now eager to see how you fare in Wilde and Tausch trivia. Justin, question 1 from the Sports Weekend Recap is this. Which 12 seed captivated fans around the country, upsetting Clemson in the first round of the NCAA tournament before falling to Purdue in the second round? Was it McNeese, McNephew, or McFirst cousin twice removed?
That would be McNeese, the first one.
Indeed. And their hype man is getting like NIL offers, right? Is he going to NC State with the coach, though?
I saw a tweet that might have been fake news, but the hype man was a big deal. With the winner of the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament, definitely the McNeese hype man.
And one of the few Cinderella stories, that one only lasted 1 round. All right, Brad, let's go. Question 2 is yours.
All right, question 2, saying it correctly, of course. Which team signed journeyman quarterback Jameis Winston to a 2-year, $8 million deal over the weekend? Was it the Arizona Cardinals, the New York Giants, or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I don't know, so I'll take a flyer. B.
They may not be getting Aaron Rodgers, but they got Jameis Winston, the New York Giants.
Yeah, Justin, right? Answers like that is why you are 2-0 and Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust? Very good guess.
Well, let's see if you can go 3 for 3. This may be, if you have any awareness at all, the easiest third question in the history of Wilde
You're
and Tausch
setting
trivia.
Justin up to be embarrassed here.
Yeah, this is
if
like
you
when
have
the
any
announcer
awareness
says,
at all.
This is when the announcer says, yeah, the kicker has made 30 straight field goals. Something like that. That's Tough spot,
Justin.
Jason.
I didn't do that to be mean. Here we go. Not only did Con Knippel help lead the Duke Blue Devils to the Sweet 16, but his brothers also helped lead which school to a second straight WIAA Boys Basketball State Championship? Is it the Milwaukee Academy of Science, Wisconsin Lutheran, or Heartland Arrowhead?
Oof. I'm going to have to take a guess on it. I'm going to. Shoot. They can't be beat twice in a row, so I'm going to go Arrowhead.
Well, it can't be beat twice in a row. In fact, it is. Maybe
you
I'm
owe
just...
Justin the biggest apology, Jason.
Yeah, that's criminal, Jason. Brutal.
The Con
Way to set
Knippel.
me up, Jason.
Yes, it's all my fault.
Clearly, Justin has no awareness at all in the book of Jason Wilde.
They won. Jesse, were you on the call of this one?
No, I had the Milwaukee Academy of Science in Division III. Science!
The correct answer is indeed Wisconsin Lutheran, Con Knippel, and then his younger brothers for the Vikings, Wisconsin Lutheran. What were they, Division II or Division I?
So they were Division II last year when they won the state title. The WIA now has a performance factor that bumps teams up when you win enough. They were bumped up to Division I, where they won on Saturday night. Back-to-back titles, 2 different divisions.
Justin, you got 2 out of 3 right, and I put the whammy on you. I apologize profusely. You got 3 of the possible 4 entries into the drawing. Better luck on Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust?
Thanks, Jason. And maybe next time we could have a general trivia question. Are you smarter than Jason Wilde? That would be intriguing. I'd be happy to take you on that one.
I would predict you'd probably do better. Although I still think it's probably easier to be smarter than Ben Brust. Thanks, Justin. We appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
That is Wilde and Tausch trivia. Yeah, I put him in a tough spot there. That's on me. I thought that the Knippel family was a pretty big story, though. Like, I thought everybody was aware of that. Am I wrong to have thought that, Jesse?
I mean, I'm pretty close to it. I think for the casual fan, I don't know if everyone knows that he went to Wisconsin Lutheran.
Jesse Knippel? Are you that strong? Are you that close to it?
No, I'm not one of the brothers, but they're going to be good for a while. They've got 2 brothers in high school now, and then I think 2 more are still on the way. So that entire family is loaded up with basketball talent. They're going to be good for a while.
Change it to Knippel Lutheran.
Good one.
So, and 2 really, really good basketball players as parents as well. Sherry Nordgaard, their mom, obviously, was a great player at UW Green Bay. All right, that is Wilde and Tausch trivia. We asked for a caller for that, and now we're going to ask for another caller. 844-770-3776. We thought we were out of tickets for Thanalysis Live. We were wrong. We had some stashed away. They are selling like hotcakes. So if you don't win here, you can still purchase them, but they are going fast. But Jesse, instead of giving away a 2-pack, we're going to give away a 4-pack of tickets today.
That's right.
All
4 tickets Saturday night.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back, and so is your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets courtesy of McDonald's. Caller number 4 right now at 844-770-3776 wins 4 tickets to Thanalysis Live on March 29th, which I do believe is Friday. Is it not Friday night? Saturday night?
Saturday, 29th.
Saturday
night. Yeah.
I didn't call up my calendar fast enough. Saturday night at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Antetokounmpo for a live show that's going to entertain fans like no other. Last year, of course, not only was Giannis there, but also Stephen A. Smith of ESPN. You never know what Thanalysis has planned for 2025. And if you don't win these tickets here on Wilde and Tausch, you can still get your tickets to Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live right now by visiting ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison's social media channels for event and ticket information. Excitement and entertainment you can't get anywhere else. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and by Carbless, which Brad knows all about. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's. Caller 4 right now wins 4 tickets to Thanalysis Live, courtesy of McDonald's. Ruo Nelly is also next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Join the Madison Area Sports Commission live and in person for a Good Morning Sports event featuring Love Madison Volleyball. On March 31st, meet an all-star lineup of Love Madison athletes and hear about the first season of pro volleyball in Madison. Registration donations benefit the MASC Youth Grant to get kids into sports. Register online at visitmadison.com/GMS. This event is sponsored by American Family Insurance and Oak Bank, supported by ESPN Madison, and produced by the Madison Area Sports Commission.
This is our crew.
Fly ball right field. Hit a ton. We're tied.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball is coming to ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Every pitch, every dramatic moment, every
fly ball left field. Back. Still back. It is up and gone.
Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers. 100.5 ESPN.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
The madness starts at Metro Kia Madison this month. Drive away in a 2025 Kia Sportage with financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. $17.48 cost per thousand borrowed. Or upgrade to the luxurious Kia K4 with rates as low as 2.9% for 48 months. $22.09 cost per thousand. With 156 new vehicles available, enjoy 2 years of no-charge maintenance on new vehicles purchased and 90 days deferred payments with approved credit. Hurry, these offers end March 31st.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Is your computer so slow you can hardly use it? Does it have blue screens, malware, viruses, reboots, hardware crashes? Sound familiar? Computers will have problems, and when they do, you need the computer experts at Madison Computer Works. Every day we help home users and businesses keep their computers and networks running smoothly. For solutions to your computer problems, call the pros at 231-8000, and we'll turn this into this. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
Churio, a high fly ball. Back, track, bye, baseball!
100.5 ESPN, your new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
When you tell me I'm a wreck, you say that I'm a mess. How could you expect anything less? Yeah, that's
almost out of time with our friend Brad Nortman, but plenty of time for Whoa Nelly.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa Nelly
on Wilde and Tausch.
So this is actually really fun. Justin in Milwaukee was our trivia contestant. A different Justin in Milwaukee was our Thanalysis Live ticket winner. So that was fun.
Wow.
And neither of them were Justin Garcia,
correct,
who is
yes.
scheduled to be a cousin sub at some point this week.
That is correct, yes. Just wanted to share that. That was fun.
Whoa Nelly!
I was also having fun over the weekend in Dubuque, Iowa. Our annual trip for the NCAA tournament to the tiny town just on the other side of the border. We had a ton of fun. I actually went back Saturday night. My friends convinced me. I came back to call a state champ. So I called the Division III boys basketball semifinals Thursday afternoon. Drove down to Dubuque, enjoyed some of the games Thursday night, all day Friday. Left Saturday morning to come back to Madison to call the Division III championship game in the afternoon, and my friends convinced me to come back to Dubuque on Saturday night to watch the Badger game, and I did it. So a lot of windshield time, but it was totally worth it enjoying the NCAA tournament. Yep.
Commitment
That was
right
a good
there.
time.
My goodness.
Thank you for your service.
Driving by Mount Horeb and Blanchardville and Platteville. Nice little drive down to Dubuque. Had a wonderful time.
How long is that drive, Jesse?
About an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half from Madison to get
it's
there.
not horrible.
Yeah, it's not
horrible.
bad at all. You can definitely do it. I think I've realized this, trying to explain to people our annual trip to Dubuque, people don't really get it because Dubuque is not a popular town that people outside of Wisconsin or even some people in Wisconsin are familiar with. Do you have a destination that you enjoy going to, a city that you have fond memories, or a vacation spot that other people just don't understand by not sharing the same life experiences that you have, Brad Nortman?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Brookfield.
Brookfield, how about that? Place of dreams, Brookfield, Wisconsin. My family and Lexi's family, my wife, both have like lake homes in northern Wisconsin. Shout out to northern Wisconsin, whoever might be listening. So there is a place we'd go to all the time on the lake, the northern pines of northern Wisconsin. It's outstanding, but most people like understand that. You know, your question was what most people don't understand. I think most people appreciate the Northwoods. I will say for 3 years in a row, in a similar fashion that you and your buddies, Jesse, go to, a lot of I'm in very, very tight with a lot of my buddies from the church we went to in Jacksonville, and every year we rent a cabin in like rural Georgia. So we do that for a weekend every year, and usually that's in the fall over like a college football weekend or like later in December
Now
watching
we're
NFL
talking.
games. So now that's about 14 guys in a cabin, and we're just around the fire pit. We go golfing because it's just warm enough still, and it's just guy time. And then when you walk like Lexi would be like, what'd you guys do the whole time? I'd be like, I don't know. We just hung out. We were just being dudes. What do you want us to do? So that might be the one thing that I can understand, Jesse, where you're coming from.
In rural Georgia?
Yeah, yep. It's like it's probably 2 hours outside of Atlanta. So that's usually where I fly into, and it's this awesome, awesome cabin. It's big cabin, but I mean,
You go to the same
usually
place
tent.
every year?
Same place every year. And it's funny, just yesterday, I got texts about dates for this upcoming year. We're trying to decide between November 2025 or January 2026. So, I mean, it's serious. The planning for it is serious.
All right, first of all, no, I don't have an answer for this because I don't leave my basement, in case you haven't heard.
The question was directed to Brad. I don't know
Yeah.
if you noticed that.
Although I did visit Stevens Point for the first time in a long time for a track meet that Maddie was in, running the mile on Friday. If I may, Brad Nortman, when you say a cabin,
yes.
Now, I remember when I was in 7th grade at St. Paul's Lutheran grade school in West Dallas, the rite of passage was to go to this place called Camp Lewisimo, which is in Waushara County. It's like a Lutheran campground, and we stayed in cabins, and we might as well have been in the 1890s.
Oh.
That's not really my gig. That was a miserable week. I have my buddies, too. Buddies are great. But for me, roughing it is staying at a Courtyard Inn. My question for you is, when you call this a cabin, having been in high finance, having played in the National Football League, I would like a little more clear description of said cabin, if I may.
So, cabin...
14 guys. How many bedrooms?
Ooh. Well, there's
a lot of bunk beds.
There's probably 4 bedrooms, but then there's 2 major loft areas, like in the house, where there's like multiple single beds, some bunk beds. So it's like barracks up there in the loft area. So I mean, it's pretty swaggy. I'm not gonna lie. We're not roughing it. I'm not getting a lot of like dirt. I'm not getting dirt underneath my fingernails or sleeping under a net. You know, it's pretty luxury cabin, if I'm not going to say. I wouldn't lower myself to have to be in the, the 1890s cabins that you experienced, Jason.
That's kind of what I thought. All right. Whoa, Nelly.
Those who play in the Super Bowl get different cabins than the rest of us.
Yeah, you guys stay over there. I'm going to stay over here. Have fun.
Whoa, Nelly! Jason mentioned
dysentery.
Not a lot of upsets in the NCAA tournament's first 2 rounds. Arkansas is kind of the darling now, but can you really be the Cinderella story or the underdog if John Calipari is your head coach and you're an SEC school?
No, you cannot. Ugh.
Do we have a likable team left in the NCAA tournament of the 16 that we want to hop on the bandwagon for as a Wilde and Tausch program here? While Tausch is gone, while he can't jinx them.
Well, it would have been BYU, but they were kind of unlikable, so they're not in there either.
It's not BYU.
Is any party you want to root for Duke because of Con Knipple? I kind of like to see the
I don't know if you heard,
Wisconsin
but his brothers won a state championship at Wisconsin Lutheran. If you have any awareness whatsoever.
I want Knipple to do well, but I want Duke to lose.
It's quite the hair to split there.
We've got Thursday games. It's BYU, Alabama, Maryland, Florida, Arkansas, Texas Tech, Arizona, Duke. No one there super rootable, if you ask me. Maybe Maryland, I guess.
Rootable.
Great finish to that game.
And then you got Ole Miss, Michigan State, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Auburn, and Purdue, Houston on Friday. No, none of these teams are like, yeah, let's pull for that one.
No, I'm out.
Yeah.
There's no Florida Atlantic. There's no San Diego State. There's not, what was the one, the dunking Florida team?
Gulf Coast.
Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you really can't consider Arkansas an underdog, right, with Calipari. And I don't know. I mean, I agree. It's all pretty much chalk, and any affinity toward any of these big schools, I don't really have it. I guess I can just be like, Rob Lowe with like the NFL logo. I just want good games. I just want good games, be entertained, nobody gets hurt, sit back, relax, and be stress-free.
Yeah, I look forward to good close games. The problem with this is not only were there not any Cinderellas to get excited about, other than Maryland, Colorado State, and to some degree Wisconsin, BYU, which, by the way, I'm not mad at BYU because they beat the Badgers. I didn't like that. They were not the kind of vibe team that I was expecting from BYU, as I said earlier in the show. That's all. But there were no like great games either. And Wisconsin was down double digits for a huge chunk of that game. It wasn't like it was back and forth all game.
Robert Morris gave us a little fun. They were leading Alabama for a minute.
That's right.
But yeah, nobody else. Pretty lame.
Yeah, thankfully the Maryland game saved us. I was at the games yesterday, watching the ones that were in Milwaukee, and it was a timeout or in between games or something, and they had the Maryland game on, and the back and forth. There was no discernible Maryland or I'm blanking on who.
Colorado State.
Yeah. Colorado State. There was no discernible fans of either team in the arena, but they put it on the Jumbotron, and the wave of emotions, the cheers. Colorado State hit the 3, the last second bank shot from Maryland. It was cool to be around, 12,000 plus people for those moments because the reactions were pure and people were engaged. So I need more games like that to finish out March Madness.
By the way, so McNeese, Drake, and Colorado State all played on Saturday or Sunday. All of their coaches are gone.
Yeah.
They have already left their programs. Colorado State's coach is the new coach at Minnesota. Drake's coach is the new coach at Iowa, and McNeese's coach went to NC State. All of those already done.
Agreed to NC State, by the way, before his team even played its tournament game, which they won. Which, again, I appreciate his honesty. Like, I thought he actually handled that pretty well. He had a good line about how, he's got players on his team that want to go to a Power 5 or Power 4, whatever it is now, school, right? And they want to get in. And so I thought he was very pragmatic and honest about it. It still feels icky, though, that you're coaching your team that you've already agreed to leave. It just seems, I don't dig that. And the way this is played out now, Sean Miller is headed to Texas.
After beating them in the first 4, that's fun.
Yeah. College is just, I don't get it.
Do you think the coaches tell the players? I doubt it, but part of me hopes that, it's like, all right, guys, this is our last hurrah together. I'm out of here. Let's do it for one another. I wonder if there's any sense of honesty beforehand, or if it's all just,
Wouldn't it be better for the sport if they made everyone wait to do this until after the championship? Because then, not only is that better for the optics of, Colorado State last night, we're not even watching the highlights yet of them losing, and their coach is the new head coach at Minnesota.
Right.
But then it keeps you talking about the sport longer. Wouldn't you want
the transfer portal? I believe the transfer portal opens today, which is also ridiculous. The fact that it can open up during the postseason.
Right. I would just say this. So obviously I've not been hiding this. My friend Brad Fisher is the head coach at UW Oshkosh. They went to the Final Four, and I would love for him to get the opportunity to interview at Wisconsin, and I would love for him to be a serious candidate for Chris McIntosh and the Badgers, a program that, remember, I covered Badger women's basketball for a long time during the Jane Albright Dieterle era. It is a program that, obviously, with a daughter who plays basketball, I want to see it succeed. I want it to be good, right? We had Mike Kelly on Friday or Thursday, and his daughter, who's not even playing basketball, some could argue is the best guard on Wisconsin's campus right now. So I want Brad to get a shot at that job. Not Brad Nortman, Brad Fisher. Although Brad Nortman, if you want to be an assistant, add that to your resume, that'd be great.
Defense.
Here's my issue. His team is in the Final Four. And I didn't want to be the guy tweeting this out or giving my that just feels wrong. You are there for your team, and he very well may be there next year. He loves it there. I get it, but the chance to coach a Division I program, I want him to get that opportunity as his friend. But I don't want to be UW Oshkosh playing in the Final Four tonight. And by the way, wouldn't it be a great hire for the Badgers to take this guy? Doesn't that just seem a little icky? Am I wrong to feel that way?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, you're rooting for a friend, you believe in his skills, and you think that it can, benefit the program. But I can see how
timing-wise, I want to be able to do it. Had they won the title, great. Had they lost in the Final Four, fine. But the bottom line is, I don't want to be making those statements when when they're obviously still playing. And the idea that this guy left for NC State while he was still coaching his team just doesn't feel right to me. But again, maybe I'm just Pollyanna-ish. All right, we will wrap things up with Brad Nortman as our cousin sub of the day after Tausch tells us about UW Credit Union. It's Wilde and Tausch.
UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years, they'll help you reach your financial goals. And if you're like me, you've always got cheddar on the mind. UW Credit Union can help with no monthly fee checking and great rates that let you keep more of your cheese. And when you're at that stage of life where you're ready to purchase a new home, UW Credit Union is your location for home loans. With UW Credit Union's local experts, a great loan at a great rate is never far from home. Join today at uwcu.org. That's uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's Jesse Nelson to tell you about Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar, proud partners of the NFL and the NFL Draft. Over the weekend, down in Dubuque, having a wonderful time. And what did I have in hand? Of course, a Pepsi. And also great Pepsi Zero Sugar, the perfect tailgate mixer. If you're getting ready for a big game, you're getting ready for the draft, you want to make sure you have a Pepsi or a Pepsi Zero Sugar. Have you tried Pepsi Zero Sugar yet, by the way? Because it is fantastic. 0 calories and all the same great taste of a regular Pepsi. And it's, you know, how good it is. They're bringing back the Pepsi Challenge for the NFL Draft. You can check that out at the NFL Experience and put your taste buds to the test in Green Bay when the draft is in town here in just a few weeks. Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar, proud partners of the NFL and the NFL Draft. We love them on Wilde and Tausch, and you can love it as well. Give it a try today. Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by The Jump Around. Don't miss new episodes of this exclusive digital show, talking all things Wisconsin sports, premiering every Thursday at 12:30, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Wisconsin's March journey ending Saturday, a 91-89 loss to BYU in the second round. 8 years now since Bucky's last appearance in the tournament's second weekend. While the season-ending loss gut-wrenching, Greg Gard reflecting on his team's run many saw as a long shot.
Watching them grow together from the time we got together in June to now may have been the most fun, enjoyable year in my career. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament, and this group just bought in and committed to each other, and we're so much fun to be around every single day and so much fun to coach.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Champions aren't made overnight, and neither was Pizza Hut's Stuffed Crust Pizza. They're the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others may try to copy, but they're not like Pizza Hut. For a limited time, score big with a large 3-topping stuffed crust pizza for just $11.99. It's perfect for watching big games on the go. Hurry, you won't want to miss this championship deal before it's gone. Head to one of their locations or order online at pizzahut.com. Pizza Hut, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Stop in for an express oil change at Fish Hatchery Road on Saturdays. No appointment necessary. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Drum roll, please.
Carbliss is here with refreshing new flavors. Introducing their Tropical Bliss Variety Pack. Let the summertime flavors of blood orange, watermelon, raspberry, and grapefruit whisk you away from the winter blues. New flavors, same great Carbliss perks. Every handcrafted cocktail still has 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and just 100 calories. Find the Tropical Bliss Variety Pack in store wherever Carbliss is sold and enjoy your winter passport to paradise. Grab a pack today and discover why Bliss is more with Carbliss.
We're on the Brewers.
They're really good at identifying talent. They're really good at developing talent.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
This is one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
100.5 ESPN.
Hold on, I don't wanna know what it's like when you're gone. I don't wanna move on. I don't wanna know what it's like when you're gone.
All right, we're already out of time, but I would be remiss if I didn't say this was really fun. You owe all of your success to us, and we were really happy to have you back, Brad.
No
Nortman.
argument there. No argument there. It was a blast. Happy to join anytime.
So now I'll talk to you again at 3:15.
Welcome back to KBN 3:15. Don't miss it.
All right, so tune in to Brad Nortman as he does the 6-hour gauntlet of radio. Who do you think you are, Gabe Neitzel?
Doing my best.
And we will catch KBN later. We'll have a new Cousin Sub all week long. Thanks for coming along for the ride with us today. Thanks to Brad, and thanks to you. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.
Football fans, Verizon